Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Checking the audio. Everybody, bear with me. Bear with me. Every day, I'm telling you, every day. Cut this background music down just a little bit. I can see myself. I can hear myself. We had three folks waiting. Three folks were waiting on the other side. So I'm just giving everybody a second to hop in here. Appreciate you guys for hopping in. When you come in, just leave a like for me. And one of these days, I'm not going to have a single technical difficulty for an entire week. Prophesy that now. One of these days, I don't know when, I don't know how long it will take, but one of these days, no technical difficulties. I'll explain just a little bit going forward. I made the commitment this Sunday that I wanted to try not to make any drastic changes. No drastic changes, nothing to my stream before I go live, at least 15 minutes before I go live. And I will tell you this, I've been doing great. I know this is my first stream, but I actually did not change anything at all related to my stream. For some reason, when I clicked the button to go live, the OBS Studio decided not to work at all. So the app, the pop-up just crashed. So that was failure number one. I rebooted it. And as soon as I rebooted it, I kid you not, as soon as I rebooted it and pressed start stream, it started the stream. But it didn't give me the chance to choose the stream or select anything, so I had no idea what I was doing. Apparently, it went to the other stream, and it's fine. So this is what I'm doing. I'm taking just 2 seconds to cool myself down, mentally, get back in the space I was in. We're not gonna let it throw us off too much, but want to make sure I can give you guys the best energy possible. So that's the goal. And we are in here. Man, those meta glasses, they look pretty good on cam. It's the first time I've seen them on cam. All right, if you are new here, brand new, first time here, my name is Shannon Williams. I am the OCPD coach, and my goal is to help you build a healthier relationship with progress. That's all I want to do. And the way I do that is by showing you step by step how I live my life, how I get through different challenges, how I make the most of my time, and how I find ways to feel productive, even in the things that we might consider to be monotonous or boring. So that is my goal. That is my aim. You're going to learn a little bit about my ADHD, a lot about my OCPD. You might learn a little bit about my family, just how I operate, my values, my morals, all of that stuff. But again, the goal is to help you guys. All right. That being said, I hope you all are having a great day. If you are in the chat, do me a favor and just say hello. Hello, hello. I see you in there, Tamboree. I'm going to share something real quick. All right. So giving everybody a second, and then we're gonna get going. Oh man, guys, this was the week. This was Goblin Week here. This was the lock-in sprint. All the marbles on the table, all that good stuff, right? So So let's see how we did. Let's close all of this crap out. And let me get you guys into Jira. There we go. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all, it's not the morning. What am I talking about? It's 4 o'clock. Not only is it 4 o'clock, but I don't even stream in the morning. I never stream in the morning. No idea why I'm saying good morning. So this is what we're going to do. This sprint, I'm going to try to keep it a little shorter, but at the end, I do want to talk about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I had no idea that it was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month until a few days back. I don't really pay attention to the holidays, the national holidays and things like that. I tend to just live life every day and treat every day as the special day that it is. But it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I do want to talk about that because I do have some important information to share. But before we do this, we are going to get into our review. So the review is just going to be us going over what tasks were completed, where I stand with everything. This is almost like a stand-up, where I stand with everything, if I'm blocked on anything, and if anything came in that was unexpected. So we're gonna go ahead and grade ourselves. Let me give myself a 15-minute timer starting now. All right, let's test this sound out. It's not loud enough. Let's test it out again. There it is. Nice. Okay. So our timer is going. And one more thing I need to do. I put J. Cole Our Chill in the background, and I don't want to be on live stream singing lyrics to you guys. So let me just do some chill 80s synthwave music. Let's do that. Because I think that'll put us in a better place with me already having ADHD and having a hard time getting my words out sometimes. All right. Some ice. I want my iced milk. Okay. Let's go. Let's see how this week is going. Let's start off with the stuff that I haven't blocked. I'm just going to start from left to right this time. I always tell you guys, when you're going over your sprints, I recommend you switch stuff up. With my ADHD, I have to switch things up. I can't do the same exact flow all the time, it'll get boring. So let's start from the left this time. And I tried to jam some stuff in here so I could seem like I was extremely productive this sprint. And I just cut my son's hair right before I streamed. So we get to pull Cut Bean's hair over to done. Starting off on the right track there. Benchmark social media stats and analytics, that has to wait until Sunday. Hyper focus stream. This has to wait until Saturday. But what I'll do is this. I'll put Saturday night just so we can make sure we don't even look at that until Saturday. All right, then I have Thursday night, and I have admin planning. Admin planning, again, this was something I threw in last week because I tend to spend time going over my sprints every single, I would say Friday or Saturday, and I needed to allot time for that. I spent a good few hours doing that. Let's go to our to-do section. Commission AI art replacements. So this was a little different. I didn't necessarily commission them with money, but I commissioned them with time and energy because I have a coworker of mine who, first of all, he designed the logo for my game, and that was paid work, but he is an amazing artist who has experience doing industry art for big companies like EA. And I've been helping him on the programming side with Unreal every once in a while. So he helps me out with art whenever he can. So he is actually taking on replacing all of my AI art that I already had commissioned and paid for by somebody. He's going and replacing all of my cases. So give ourselves a ding for that. That was ad hoc, wasn't expected, but we'll take it as a win because we needed to get this game moving forward, and it's definitely moving forward. Sun time, 5 dedicated hours this week. I would say this. I think I'm at about 3 hours right now. So I keep this because I know I want to spend a little more time with my son this sprint. And I don't want to count that one yet. Next thing we have on here is fixed demo bugs. I did a play test for my game. When I did the play test, there were some bugs that popped up. One of the bugs was this checkout system. For some reason, it reset my checkout system all the way to 0, in the map, which means that you couldn't go to your desk, you couldn't go to your counter. So that was broken. I fixed that, but I need to fix the animations because my animations for my NPCs, they aren't moving or anything. So this is in progress since I'm working on it. Next, we have sabotage and recover. I'm not doing anything on this right now, but I'm confident this will get done this sprint because I'm trekking through this stuff, man. I'm killing it this sprint. I have to give myself a real big round of applause at the end because I'm making a lot more progress than I realized I would be. Customer napping system. This is an idea that came up, spur of the moment conversation with my game consultant, the person I'm consulting with, and it blew my mind because I didn't even think of doing this. So I'm definitely adding that in this sprint, and that goes hand in hand with this sabotage system. So we're still right on the money. Next, we have rename all sound effects and audio clips in UE5. This low priority. This is something if I wanted to bump this out, I honestly could, as long as I get the priority audio clips that I need. I could really bump this out. But I'm leaving it in here just in case I need an easy win. If I'm not having the most momentous day and I really just need something I can scratch off my list, that's why I'm leaving this task on here. Always set yourself up for future success. All right, let's move on to our in progress. Add voicemail system. This, I'm like this close, y'all. I'm this close. I have the base system made. You'll be able to skip messages, play messages, pause messages, and delete messages. But the thing that I'm getting right now is I'm getting the voicemail machine. I'm getting it 3D modeled. So until it's 3D modeled, I'm hoping I get it this week. Until it's 3D modeled and I add it into the game with sound effects, I'm not going to consider this done. I'm not going to cheat the system and make it where I'm giving myself false expectations for the future. So I'll hold on to this one just until we get to that point. Next, work out at least 2 days a week. Guess what I did right before this sprint? Some good squats, calf raises. I even had my son out there. He had his little workout bench, so he was doing his squats and calf raises with me. And I also did my upper body earlier this week. So knock that out. It's always, as I say, guys, it always feels so good when you have things in your life that you might put off, just continue to neglect. I know I was neglecting working out for almost a year after I was really consistent with it. And since I started back using Jira, I've been consistently getting the workouts done. And I even time box myself since I always try to get it done before Thursdays. So it's just working out really good for me. And that is everything except for our done column. So look at that. These are all automatic. So these I already know. We're going to get these done. To do, these are the things I'm hoping to get done here. And sun time is the only thing that is variable. And then these, I just need to fix these. So guys, I'm looking good. I'm looking really good. So let's go ahead and give ourselves something real quick. That's what she said. I don't know if that was the good sound effect to play, but I am the game. That's better. And guys, this is us ruling our day. I'm showing you how to rule your week. I own my week now. My week, I know what's going on. I know what I have planned. I know how to give myself kudos. I know how to critique myself when there are times where I need some adjustments. So it's really cool. I'm really happy about that. Let's keep going. Workout, at least we got that. We got our cut hair, commission AI art, player rewards. This is something here that I marked done. And I think I might go a little deeper into it in the polished stage when I get my UI effects, because then I'll know how everything is feeling with the sounds and all of that. But I did this. XP is rewarded based off of the items you sell. And I added this yesterday. There were these special things when you're checking people out based off what you're ringing up. You get special perks. So I think that's going to be really cool to get that special reward, such as selling a low priced item or a low tier item, something that you're selling on the release day. Just these little benefits that add a little spark to that checkout system. Give ourselves another ding for that. Yeah. Next up, we have distributor quest system. I went ahead and ripped the Band-Aid off of this one. So this is something I have been putting off. Is when it comes down to finalizing something, I always get in this analysis paralysis state. And I know it's due to my OCPD. We always try to make everything so methodical and perfect. But last night, my wife was down here, and I just ripped the Band-Aid off and said, hey, I need to just do it. I just need to go in and get this done. So I set up, I think, about 10 or 12 quests. And those quests now have all been added to the game, and I can consider this task done. Love it. Player punishments. This is something after talking to my consultant, I made a few adjustments, and that actually lowered the need for some of the things in this. But it actually required me to go back and change work I did. So I actually did work here, even though this was not as necessary as I thought it would be. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a complete for that. Moving on from that, we have our box management updates. I spent a good amount of time doing this yesterday, more than I thought. But now you can store items inside of a box. If you're holding an item and you click on the box, you can store it. And you can also, if you're holding an item in a box, you can drop the entire box and just hold that item. So big ding for that. Next, the pager system. It feels good. Going through this list feels so good when I know how long I've been putting some of this stuff off. Because some of this stuff I have been putting off for a while. So I'm really, really happy that I'm getting all of it off the list. Pager system, I implemented that. You can get the critical notifications. You can sift through the messages on the pager system. You can delete them. And I even made a temporary pop-up where if you get a page, it alerts the player. You'll get something that pops up on the screen. Real quick, guys, if you aren't here, do me a favor, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, say hello. I don't bite. And leave a subscribe if you like this type of content. Turn the notification bell on so you know the next time I'm going live, which is this Saturday. In a second, we'll go through all of that. Next up on the list, build, list, and place order for new voiceovers. Yes, I did this. I only did this for a specific set of characters. So I'm not even going to list some of them because I want them to be surprises. But I did it for certain characters. I added them in. So we went ahead and got this. And huge shout out. I can't let this slide by. Huge shout out to my voiceover artist who did these, DC. He's an amazing voiceover artist. He voiced over just about all of my primary meals. And for the love, for just the sake of the project, knocked these out in the day. And I won't go into too much detail, but you know what you did, and I really appreciate you for that. So thank you. Knocked it off the list. Next up, we have delivery system finalization. So I went ahead, I talked to my consultant. He said I don't need to make this as crazy as I wanted to. So just leave it as it is. We're good to go. Knocked that off the list. Meeting with my consultant. My confidence was a little bit low this week as far as my vision for the future because I'm so far away visually from having it done, and I'm such a visual person. But after talking with Jameson, I'm in a much better state of mind for this. So huge kudos to Jameson. And we are now going to just be meeting every single week until this thing is pushed out. Read our Bible for 30 minutes. Yes, I did this while I was multitasking. Got that out the way. And if you want to know what I'm reading right now, I'm reading Proverbs, and I'm doing the audiobooks. Proverbs has so much good stuff for business, just different principles that you can live by. And I think that's the book that I'm just sticking in for right now because I just want to continue to get that spiritual seed from that area of the Bible. Next, work on YouTube, broadcast, automation, make.com. I did this. And here's the caveat, because I'm a little bit pissed off about this. I did this, and then for some reason, make.com decides to disconnect my accounts. Every few hours, it disconnects my accounts. So what I'm going to try to do instead is I'm bringing it in here and I'll move it out for the next sprint. But I'm going to try to just use a raw API call, a raw REST API call, instead of using their connections, because their connections is something faulty going on. But it's supposed to automatically make my YouTube live stream, automatically schedule posts and all of it, and it's not. So I'll get that figured out. Add a desk bell. Yes, I modeled one. I added a sound effect. I added the placement, and I switched up the sound. So when customers come up to your desk, this is the sound that plays. Another ding for that one. Complete Xbox application details. Shh. We get a ding for that one. Wife time. My wife has been spending a lot of time in my office recently. Shake some, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for hopping in here. My wife has been spending a whole lot of time with me recently in my office, just in my space, trying to help me out with ideas, watching the streams, giving me feedback, moderating my channel, all types of stuff. So we definitely have gotten more than 5 hours in. OCPD Coach Sunday stream. You guys were here for that. We did that. Trademark check-in. I check my trademark that I applied for Retro Game Store Simulator every single week just to make sure it doesn't get dropped, and we did that. Y'all, look at this. This is crazy. 18 tickets were done. 18 tickets were done. We have 2 more in progress here, 3 more to do, and then the rest of the block ones are easy. That's easy money. So just for the sake of all of this, I need to go ahead and give myself a quick celebration. Let's see which celebration are we gonna do today. My son loved this one, so let's do this one here. Let's do this one. So I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna mute this, mute my mic.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
I'm on mute. I think that's why my wife's calling me. Hold on. Hey, Meta, answer. Yeah, you were telling me I was on mute. Okay, thank you. All right, I was on mute. Sorry. I do have some ad hoc things I want to bring in here real quick, but during this 5 minute timer, I wanted to just let you know that I will be streaming again this Saturday. Be there. This is a work stream. Work with me. Get some work done. We don't have time to be playing games out here. We know how the economy is. All of the AI coming to try to take our jobs. Quest, welcome in. Appreciate you, man. Quest, I just seen you. Discord, I just seen you. Yes. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you have not. Turn that post notification bell on so you get notified every single time I go live. And I won't spam you. I promise. It's always helpful information. But yeah, we have to grind. I have a great career, and I don't know how long I will have the career. But even the entire time I've had the career, I've worked just as hard outside of the career as I've worked in the job. So you have to continue to do everything you can on your side to provide for your family and take care of yourselves because nobody is coming to save you. Nobody. Next, we have a stream this Sunday. This Sunday is going to be our planning stream. So we will be planning for our next sprint, the next sprint, which is going to be, we're in our lock-in sprint. The next sprint, I think I can officially say that our next sprint is going to be our marketing planning / testing sprint. I think that's fair because we have a lot of stuff. I have to get a lot of stuff planned out for marketing. Who's doing the trailer? What's the trailer going to look like? What influencers am I reaching out to? I need to create a catalog of videos. I basically need to be emailing over 300 300 influencers somehow, and I need to be making custom videos or custom content for each of them to understand how intentional this project is. So we're going to be doing some of that planning this Sunday. And then you all know, if you're already here, next Thursday, baby, we will be live again. Let's go. Live again. We're going to be reviewing how we're doing with that planning sprint, with that marketing sprint. And we're just going to work through some stuff. It's going to be a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of insight. If you know me personally, I'm that guy that's always teaching somebody. I'm the guy that'll pull the young fellas to the side and say, look, I'm gonna teach you guys something I wish I knew at your age. Because I think that when you get to a certain point in life where you learn different things, you get that knowledge, don't let it waste away in your brain. Either apply it to the world where you can use it, give it to other folks, or do both. I like to do both. You guys see me apply the knowledge that I have here from my master's degree, my bachelor's degree, my industry experience, my product owning certification, my coaching certification, all of this stuff I have, marriage, fatherhood, mental health. I show you guys how I apply my strategies, how I apply the knowledge, and then I give it to other people. So definitely make sure you are here Thursday because it's going to be an amazing time. And if you are here, again, thank you. Anybody watching me live, I know you guys don't. It's a million people you guys can be watching, and you're choosing to watch this chocolate, bald head, young 20-year-old, 30-year-old, old man, baby man, talking about mental health, using software engineering stuff to plan your life. And the fact that you're doing that, I appreciate it. because I'm honestly honored to even be able to talk about this stuff. But the fact that we have people who are willing to listen to it or willing to receive it, let me get a sound effect as quickly as I can. But I'm not fast enough. So I'll give you guys this. That's a whack one. Let's give her another one. That's more dramatic. All right, so now that we have that, I want to talk to you real quick about the mountain. And this is before we go into the mental health talk that I want to give you about mental health, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. This mountain, I wanted to make myself a mountain, and my son decided to make me an even better mountain. So he drew this at 4 years old, drew it, colored it, cut it out, made my favorite type of mountain, a snow-capped mountain, which is amazing. And I hang it up right here. Anybody that knows me, I'm not a picture person. I hate hanging stuff up. But when my son makes me stuff, I hang it up everywhere. So if you see in my office, I got stuff all over the walls just for my son. And this is what I always use as the analogy when I talk about using tools like Jira, because I was right here and I wanted to get to the top of this mountain. And all I could see in my head, all I could see was probably half of the mountain, but I couldn't see on the other side because of how far down I was. So the further I got in my week, the more things I started to scratch off my list. I got higher up on that mountain, closer to the peak. It wasn't until just now that I had the chance to, at that top, at the middle of the mountain, I had the chance to look down and see how far I've gone. So now I can properly estimate how much further I am from that peak. And when we get to that peak, guys, I'm telling you, that peak is where you want to be. It's where you want to be because it is way too sweet. So let's go ahead and move on to this next section, which is about mental health, men's mental health awareness, right? And for my video editor, my amazing video editor who I onboarded this week, if you are here or whenever you decide to come into the video and watch it later on, I want you to snip this part because this part is really, really crucial. And I'm just gonna do a 10-minute, about 10 minutes, not anything too crazy. Let's do about 10 minutes. Let's switch our scenes up real quick. Cut some of this music down. Hey Meta, take a picture. Hey Meta, take a picture. Yeah. So I love that. I love using these different tools so we can just get some visualization. All right, guys. It is Mental Health Awareness Month for men specifically, right? And I grew up with a few different situations. See if we can zoom in just a little bit. I'm telling you, technology, they try to be too smart and they don't know how to just play their role. I literally just wanted you to zoom in. There it is. Give me a second. Right there. That's good. Okay. So I wanted to just tell you guys real quick about the importance of men's mental health in general. So this is not, for me, cool. We have a month that's cute, that's great, that's awesome, that we can use this month as an opportunity to shed some light. But I want to ensure that you guys understand that this is something that, regardless of if there was a month for it or not, we have to take serious. And I didn't even know that Mental Health Awareness Month was a thing. We have months for just about everything now. They might have a month for wear orange socks. So everybody that wears orange socks might be a month for that. So for me, I don't really pay attention to those as much. But since we are in this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, I do want to just share a little bit of information as far as my mental health and why it is so important for us to take it seriously, especially as men, right? So I want to break it down in ways that makes the most sense. First thing I'm going to do is talk about the role of a man, a traditional man, the role and the importance of the mental health, that area of mental health in that role. After that, I want to talk about how I used to be and some of the struggles I used to have before I was aware of my mental health and started working on it. And then the third thing I want to do is go a little bit deeper about Orange Socks Month is next month. There it is. I knew it existed. Welcome in, welcome in. I can't pronounce your name, but welcome on in. And then the third thing I want to do is I want to talk about how my life has changed and impacted other folks since I've taken my mental health seriously, right? And I might go off on tangents every once in a while. Jim Float in Twitch. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in. But yeah, I might drift in and out a little bit as we talk, but don't worry, I'm going to try my best to get the valuable information out. So this is the thing. We're at A viewers, guys. Appreciate you. If you're here, please leave a like. I want you guys to just get some valuable information here, and I want you to keep men in mind. So when I say men, I'm talking about if it could be a father, it could be a brother, cousin, friend, it could be a husband, it could be I think father was already something I said. It could be yourself, and also it could be your children, especially if you have boys. And this is something I try to really take seriously, me having a son now. But when I talk about the role of the man, in my eyes, a man is supposed to be a leader. That's and all the different facets you want to put add to it. That's simply put what it is to me. You want to be the leader. You have to be the leader, and I think it is really, really difficult. No, not even I think. It is really, really difficult to lead anyone if you are not emotionally satiated. If you do not have a good understanding of your emotional state and your emotional temperament, I think it is really difficult for you to be a leader as a man. And I know that we always get taught, especially growing up, that we need to put the emotions to the side. And I know it's a weird divide. Well, I won't go too deep into it, but growing up when I was back in my day, when I was growing up, my mother was always really, really in tune emotionally. She was always there. I got what I needed. Same thing with just the women in my family because I grew up in it was a single parent household. Ultimately, that's what it was. But I had men in my life. So my grandfather was in my life. My uncle was in my life. My father was in my life. I saw my father every single month, probably 2 or 3 times a month because he was working. So I would see him on weekends. And my father and my mother, it was a big difference in how that relationship worked. So I would tell you this: I think that women can do a great job raising young men, but when it comes down to that emotional state, women might make the little boy a little too soft, a little too emotional. We might care about a lot of things that we probably shouldn't. And when you're with the father, a lot of times you don't get as much of it because the father is not really there to be the emotional support. So it's really, really easy to grow up and be off balance in some capacity. You're either too emotional or you're not emotionally intact enough. So I think what has helped me out is awareness of emotions, right? You being aware of your mental state, you being aware of what really makes you tick, but not only that, why does it make you tick? And that's why I always recommend every single person that I come across, especially young black men, especially because we have such a different relationship with it all. I always recommend that they go to therapy. Therapy is a bad word in our community, and it's insane with the amount of killing and different activities that we have, the lack of two-parent homes, the lack of married couples, the lack of just morals and ethics in different communities that our people are in. You would think that mental health would be a bigger priority. You would think mental health would be the top priority, but it's not. And that's where I come in. I'm not a therapist. I am a coach. I like to help people get to solutions from wherever they're at. But with a man being a leader, if you do not understand yourself, if you don't know what really makes you tick and why it makes you tick, I think you're going to have a lot of different issues in life, possibly, right? Everybody doesn't have mental health struggles, but I think you will potentially have these difficult times in different parts of your life that could possibly be either avoided or be walked through or worked through in different ways. Now, when I was growing up, mental health was something I was always around because my mother and my grandmother, my uncle, my cousins, they all owned adult foster care homes. So I was always around folks who had schizophrenia, dementia, these serious mental disorders. And I was around them growing up. I used to be at the homes. They would be giving them whatever they needed, if it was medication or just making sure all the files were intact. I would be working in the office, as my mom's office was. So I was always around individuals who had serious mental health disorders. So for me, I think it was skewed. I never really looked at ADHD or OCPD or any of that stuff because I had this really serious image of what mental health really was. I had it if it wasn't that you were either repeating your name over and over again or you had a really bad memory, short-term memory loss, or any of these different things that I witnessed as side effects, to me, everything was perfectly normal. It wasn't until I got older that I really started to see the effects. And now I want to hop into that part real quick because I think that this next section, when I tell you how it impacted me and how I was back then, I'm hoping that people get this video or get this clip and are able to relate to it or find somebody that does relate to it. And then we can go into how we walk from that. So let me do this. I have 47 seconds. I do want to tell you guys real quick before we move on to this next part to leave a subscribe. I am live Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We just review all of the work that I committed to, and this is work and life stuff. We are live on Saturdays. Let's see if I can get it running. There it is. Saturdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, what is that? What is that? Oh, all right, y'all. Apologies. Jim Flow, appreciate the Twitch follow. I haven't had folks watching on Twitch in so long that I forgot what the noises made. I switched over to just chatting on Twitch now, so it seems like that's working better. So appreciate you. Thank you for following. And then we will be live again on Sunday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. This is when we plan out our week. And my ultimate goal, again, I am Shannon Williams. I'm waiting for it to go out. There it is. Again, I'm Shannon Williams, the OCPD coach. My goal is to help you build a healthier relationship with progress. Progress. It's not what you've always thought it was, where it's just money related, financial position, power, all that stuff. To me, progress is something that has to be split up into buckets for you to really feel productive in life and feel the meaning in life. And when I say the buckets, we're talking about splitting up between family members, breaking your family members up so everybody is not at the same exact level. Your mental health, your physical health, your personal projects, whatever it is, you should have buckets for all of this stuff. And to me, all of these things are ways that you can make progress in your life. So please, if you have questions about that, ask me. I love to tell people about it. It's something I came up with that has helped me out tremendously. And you're like, okay, Shannon, you said it helped you out tremendously. Well, what were you like before? Cool. Let's go into it. I didn't plan on wearing this black watch today because I really don't like the black watch. I don't know. When I see black, it just reminds me of death, and I'm not really a fan of black. However, this was the watch that was gifted to me by my stepfather. Let me see if I can zoom in just to show you guys. It's a really nice watch, actually. Let me see. There it is. So it's an all black Movado watch. It was gifted to me by my stepfather when I decided to get married. And the reason why it's significant to this conversation is because I wanted to talk about my wedding day. And my wife is on here probably watching, but she will see it at some point. And excuse me. And I have apologized publicly to my wife for this, but I think she understood how my brain works, and she doesn't hold it against me. But I actually worked the day I got married. I worked and did not take a day off to celebrate when I got married. It wasn't something that and it's weird because to me, that was normal. To me, if somebody took off on a wedding day or a birthday or just took off from work in general, it was because they were being lazy. they didn't want to put enough hard work in. They didn't want to put as much work in as I was willing to put in. I want to say that again, real quick. Oh my goodness, y'all, Twitch. We rocking on Twitch. Let's go. I love it. Yo. Good NTO. Appreciate you. Appreciate the sub. Hello, welcome on in. We're live on Twitch and YouTube. So YouTube folks, if you hear the noise, that's Twitch. We are live on both. But I thought it was normal for people to work on their wedding day, their birthdays, every single day. You never take a day off, right? You look like a good guy. I appreciate that. I'm not one of those, I'm a good guy people person, but I try to be thinking, yo, we going again. Oh my goodness. Twitch, we rocking. That's what I'm talking about. Who would have known all we had to do was switch to just chatting? But this is the thing. I'll cut that down. I might cut that down just a little bit, just so you guys can hear me talking real quick. But this is the thing. I thought it was weird and it was lazy if people decided to work on their wedding days. I mean, to take their wedding days off or their birthdays off. To me, that wasn't normal. I personally, did not like taking days off at all. So I was the person who had all of my days off. They were full. My entire backlog of days off I always had. And I only took days off because they would not roll over. So I would take the days off just so I can make sure I didn't lose any days off. And Dusty FNBR1, appreciate the following. And that was my norm, right? So that's why I wore this watch specifically, because with it being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, I had to be realistic and do a deep dive on myself to show you where my brain was, right? Yo, welcome in. Show you where my brain was. My brain was not normal, but to me it was, because of the type of disorder that I have. And I want to tell you just for clarity what I do deal with. I deal with something called OCPD, which is obsessive compulsive personality disorder, and I deal with ADHD. I also deal with OCD, but I don't talk as much on that one. But OCPD and ADHD, I've dealt with them as long as I can remember, which is crazy because I dealt with the side effects of them without ever knowing that I had these disorders in my life. It's insanity. So I have to give myself kudos on the back again, because I was able to make it to my life. I was able to make it so far in my life having these disorders without knowing. And it was really stressful. It was a lot of identity issues, a lot of self-confidence issues, imposter syndrome, unreleased, unfinished products, all types of stuff that I dealt with without knowing that I had mental health issues. So you got to give yourself kudos on your back, first of all, if you do have struggles and you're trying to do your best to cope with them or work through them, give yourself some grace. It's important that you give yourself grace. Let me ask these questions real quick, Dusty. What type of training do you do? So I help you build a healthier relationship with progress in your life. If that's hitting goals, getting goals hit, if that is feeling that value in your time, so not thinking that you just wasted your time, being more productive in different areas of your life, building that healthier relationship with your family. I just help you build a healthier relationship with progress overall. And you got to live by the way of the turtle in Dragon Ball. Train hard, eat a lot, get plenty of rest, study. I like that. Dang. Can you help people with mental health? Can you help people with mental health with people having chronic diseases? I'm going to need you to do me a favor, Jim Flo T. Reiterate that question so I can make sure I'm answering it correctly. I love your content already, not joking. Hey, I appreciate that. I really thank you. Make sure if you guys are on YouTube, check me out on YouTube. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers soon, just so we can try to monetize this channel. I've always wanted to monetize the channel just so I can have an additional way of bringing some money in and fund other things. And I think that would be a great way to just keep that rocking. So I appreciate you guys. If it takes me a little bit to answer questions, it's because I'm talking, and I want to make sure my clips are not too hard to edit for my video editor, because she's going in and I want to make sure it's easy for her. But yeah, so that was just one thing, right? So that's why I'm wearing the watch. With my disorders, let me tell you something. I had a couple of different things that were OCPD related, and I'll get the list for you, right? So OCPD symptoms, and let me just get a list. I'm gonna get a list of them, because I want to go through all of these and tell you how I dealt with every single one of them without even realizing it. And you'll probably see, you might even see some parallel in your life, right? So These are the symptoms of OCPD. Be preoccupied with be preoccupied with and insist on details, rules, lists, orders, organization. Have perfectionism that interferes with completing tasks. Have excessive devotion to work and productivity. This results in neglecting hobbies and spending less time with loved ones. Let me go back. Hold on. Let me go back. You're welcome. I am also starting to love your content. I appreciate you guys. Tell me what you love about it, and let's keep this going. So let me rewind and let's do this again because I need to step through this with y'all, right? Listen to this. OCPD. This a lot of folks don't know about OCPD. Mental health, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is really crucial right now, actually, because I think this is a great time to shed some light on OCPD because a lot of people won't even know they're dealing with it since they tend to be successful in different areas of their professional careers or lives. You're a hard worker. You're really detail oriented. You're first to get to work, last to leave, right? But you tend to suffer in your personal life. Personal relationships feel like a drag. You always seem like you're wasting your time if you're not working. Ooh, guilty. So I'm going into this because I think OCPD is actually really, really huge. Hey, Meta, take a picture. I took a picture of this because I want to make sure that we just keep this in mind. So listen to this, OCPD. And let me turn the timer off. Let's just vent. If you guys were only here for the Jira updates showing you where I was in the week, how much work I got done, feel free to head out if you need. But I do recommend that you guys stick and stay here because this is where I give a lot of crucial information and hopefully can shed some light and help somebody, right? That's what this part is. I'm talking about like, can you help people that have it mentally hard while living with chronic autoimmune diseases? Well, this is the thing. I believe, and this is a really sensitive topic, so I want to make sure I'm not being insensitive with what I say here. The information I provide is completely detached from any other disease you might be dealing with, right? So if you take what I'm applying and you start and you're having the struggles in your life that I'm talking about where you just don't feel as if life has any meaning or life is progressing for you, if you work with some of these things, it does have the potential to help you mentally. However, when you're dealing with something else that is much heavier, like a chronic or autoimmune disease, me personally, I've never dealt with that, and I would not know how much of an impact emotionally that would have on you. But I would at least, at the bare minimum, always be here on live streams. If you just need somebody to connect with, kick it with, ask questions to, that's what we're here for. So I want to be clear. That's what I can do, and that's about the limits of what I can do for it. So let's go through it again, real quick. Let's go through this again. We have sound effects. We have be preoccupied with and insist on details, rules, lists, order, and organization. This is something that you can actually use it to your benefit, and you might already be using it without knowing. But people who have OCPD are typically rule followers, so you don't like to break rules. You don't like when other people break rules either. So you're like that person that's saying, hey, excuse me, hey, go to bed. Everybody needs to go to bed at 8 o'clock, right? Everybody needs to get out the streets and clean up. Don't leave trash. I hate graffiti. I hate when I see trash on the ground. It's like my duty to go pick it up and clean it up. No problem, Jen Floats. So that is one of those things. I think this is really, really crucial though, when we talk about being preoccupied with, and actually, let me see if I can switch this up so you guys can see what I'm seeing. I think this is something that we really need to take seriously and look at how it impacts our personal lives when we talk about the insistence on details, rules, lists, order, and organization. Because if you're by yourself, living by yourself, it's a lot easier for you to have that. But when you start cohabitating with folks, whether that be significant others, family members, children, you will try to put that same expectation on them. And this is where I think we tend to have the most issues when we deal with OCPD. It is with that expectation. We want everybody to think like us. Everybody should be living like us. Do what's right. Follow the rules. Make sure everything is organized. Make sure everything is in the right place. There was this scene from Chucky from Chucky. I said Chucky. So there was this scene from what is the name of it? It is Rugrats. And let me see. Chucky and Tommy fight, right? And I'll see if I can pull this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right here. Watch this.
Let me explain it again. You see, this block is a fryer. You're just gonna leave them like that, aren't you? The red blocks are all mixed with the blue ones, and the squares are with the triangles, and you don't even care. You really don't care. Explain it again. You see, this block is a fryer. You're just gonna leave them like that, aren't you? The red blocks are all mixed with the blue ones, and the squares are with the triangles, and you don't even care. You really don't care. See, this block is a fryer. You're just gonna leave them like that, aren't you? The red blocks are all mixed with the blue ones, and the squares are with the triangles, and you don't even care. You really don't care.
And I played that 3 times because first of all, I related to this. I relate to this clip way more than I should. Being a 29-year-old man, I should not relate to a baby. I should not be relating to a baby this much. Good into yo, what does YH mean? You guys got to give me hip to that. What does YH mean? I keep saying it. Welcome in. I relate to this so much because Chucky, and I'm not saying Chucky had OCPD. I'm not a diagnosis post, but Chucky had a certain order in his room, and I remember this episode. This is the only episode that I remember as clear as day. Tommy came to do a sleepover, and Chucky has a certain way that he plays with his toys. He sorts his toys. He has everything in a way. It's organized by color. It's organized by shape. And his room, if you look at his room, it is pristine. It is really clean. And Tommy comes from a much looser home. They don't have as much structure. So they're able to do what they want. As you see, he's a baby who carries a screwdriver in his diaper. There is absolutely no structure in the Pickles home. It's just hit me. There is no structure in the Pickles home. The Pickles are the wild, wild west when it comes to babies, and that's why I would never let them babysit my son. But Chucky, the Finsters, even though they didn't have the mother, the father, you could tell he put some structure in Chucky. Chucky has a way of doing this. And I think, man, I'm on a tangent, but this gets deep for me because you start to think Chucky lost his mom so young. And you start to wonder what impact that had on his mental health with not wanting to lose things. And I know I'm stretching, I'm reaching, but just think about this. You lose somebody because you couldn't control losing them. And then you want to do everything you can not to lose your toys. I'm going deep, but this is how I am. I overanalyze everything. And that's what it talks about with OCPD. We get preoccupied with the details. So I wanted to show you guys that because when you're living with folks and you start having that expectation for folks to live and abide by your rules, your structure, your order, your organization, that is where I tend to see a lot of this. And I spoke with married couples who have OCPD inside the home, dating couples who've had it, parent-child relationships. It always tends to be the same thing. The person who has OCPD, they have expectations, and the expectations are not being met. But I think a lot of that goes down to rigidity, which is something we'll go into here, and then failure to delegate properly. So a lot of this stuff is so ingrained in us that we would not see that we are trying to make people live in a way that is not fair. Honestly, that's what it boils down to. So let's go to this next thing. Have perfectionism that interferes with completing tasks. Have perfectionism that interferes with completing tasks. Hey, Meta, what percentage of people complete tasks? In the United States, what percentage of people complete their goals? 9. Okay, thank you. So Meta, I just talked to my glasses, and Meta told me that only about 9% of people keep their New Year's resolution. So that's the stat they chose to give me. 9% of people keep it. And I think a lot of folks who have OCPD, if you just looked at that specific range of folks, I think that percentage for them will be much more prominent because we have to have every single thing in order before we consider something to be complete. We don't do a great job at breaking tasks apart, and we don't do a great job at defining what that finish line is. So this is a deep topic that I can talk about forever, and I do talk about it when I talk about the MVPs, understanding what the MVPs are for whatever you're trying to get done. I have a document, and I'll show you guys here. And I'll drop it inside of this as well, chatbot. So OCPDcoach.com/resources. I have a document in here which is called Expectation Measure. And this has helped so much with that part, with understanding what makes something be complete, with understanding how you gauge the interactions with your significant others, your expectation with your significant others. And then also, I think it's really crucial for your self-examination because a lot of people who have OCPD, most of the people I've talked to, are extremely, extremely difficult on themselves. It's crazy. We're almost harder on ourselves than we are other people. And I think that's what makes us so prone to the sensitivity of being critiqued or corrected. Because a lot of times we already have that imposter syndrome where we're thinking, okay, this is the best that I could do right now. And I'm already having to just deal with the fact that it's not perfect. So if somebody comes in and tries to correct it, you instantly feel attacked as if, no, like I did the best I could, please don't, because now you're just confirming some of those thoughts that I had. And again, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, any of that. I'm just telling you from my own personal experience. This is what I can tell you. This is from my own personal experience and from the experience of other folks with OCPD that I have connected with. These are some of the things that I've seen in mass, I guess you could say. Again, if you guys are on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, please leave a like, please leave a follow. We're having a great conversation right now. It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I wish I could change the title so we could get more people in for that, but it's fine because I want to make this content evergreen where you can come back later and get everything you need from it. So let's go to the next thing in here. The next thing we has excessive devotion to work and productivity. This results in neglecting hobbies and spending less time with loved ones. This gets 3. Guys, I didn't get diagnosed with OCPD and ADHD until about 2.5 years ago now. And I got married 5 years ago. So you can imagine how my state of mind was all the way back then, not knowing that this was not normal. When we talk about this results in neglecting hobbies, I used to like to play video games, but when I played video games, I played sports, football, basketball. I loved playing outside. And when I started working, I stopped doing it all. The last time I bought a game to play before I got diagnosed was in 2014. And I played that game for about 2 weeks and then stopped playing it. After that, I started teaching myself how to make games, and I never looked back, never played another game. So I only, when I found out about my mental health, started going and trying to make myself play games. But it was really, really hard for me to prioritize playing a game or indulging in that hobby when I knew there was work I could do. That's what it always came down to. I have work I could be doing. Why should I be playing a game? So I want you guys to keep this top of mind. And Cammy, my video editor, this whole thing, this is going to be crucial information for us to chop up in the future. So make sure you pay attention to this ending section, especially when I'm talking about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, since it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want to make sure we add that tag and add that information inside of our videos. So that's one. And then spending less time with loved ones. My cousin is my video editor, and my wife is my wife. My wife is my moderator. But those two can probably attest to, and my mom, she watches, my sister, she watches, but folks who know me, my brothers, when I'm in grind mode, I don't have time for other stuff. Let me rewind that. When I'm in grind mode, I don't have time for other stuff. So that meant spending time with loved ones. That was something that I was forcing myself to do because, or I would do it if it was only if it was convenient, if I couldn't work, or if I was forced to go to an event, or if it was an expectation. That's when I would tend to do it. But it would be really rare if I had work I could be doing. It was really, really rare for me to find time to spend with loved ones. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, cool, but why is this really an issue? When we have work that we want to get done, it is good for you to be able to isolate yourself from family, isolate yourself from your hobbies, take it serious, and get the work done. And I agree. I think that's great. But this is where it becomes an issue. Listen. With OCPD, the work never stops. As soon as you do one project, you're on to do the next project. And this becomes even more difficult, especially if you have ADHD, like myself, because with my ADHD, I'm interested in way too much crap. And I'm always all over the place. Like my wall, you guys see this? Let me show you. Let me show you real quick so you guys can see that I'm not bluffing. Check my wall out. I built this wall with my bare hands. I built this entire wall. And I do other home improvement projects, redoing my entire, I redid the whole office. I redid my entire streaming setup because I was really getting into my streaming. I'm building video games. I'm doing all different types of things. The OCPD Coach stuff, it's always something for me to do. So I never have that time where I'm done with the project and I can take a break. And with that being the case, that means that 98% of my time in my life, 98% of that time is being excessively given to work and productivity. And I guess while we're here, that brings me to something that I want to call out. And I'm going to do this. Productivity, real quick. To me, when I think about productivity, I think about progress. Productivity, progress, for me, same thing. So when we say has excessive devotion to work and productivity, you can sum that up to me and say has an excessive devotion to progress. And that is where I step in. I do these live streams 3 times a week. Thursdays, like right now, we go through my work that I committed to for the week, and we talk about what things came in, what things got done, all of that stuff, give ourselves a pat on the back. Saturdays, we just chill and work. So I work on the game, we chill, and it's a good time for you to just get work done, vibe out. And then Sundays are the streams where I plan the workout for the next week. So when I talk about progress and helping you with progress, what I talk about is how you track your progress, how you measure your progress, how you define your progress, how you appreciate your progress, and how you monitor your progress. We need to lock that in. That was good. I came up with all that off the top of my head, but that was all facts. That's what we talk about. It's all about that relationship with progress. So anytime you hear me talk about progress, it's about breaking the progress up instead of it just being work and productivity alone. In the definition we have for it, is looking at productivity in a different light. Being productive does not just have to be something that can make you money. Being productive for me is I have a tier 1 relationship value lane. So if I spend time with my wife or spend time with my son, as you see in here, let me show you guys. I have a ticket right here, Sun Time, 5 dedicated hours this week. What does that help me with? Mental health, because it makes me feel good, knowing I'm making him feel good. Repeat, so it's a repeating task, but it helps me with my tier 1 relationship. My son and my wife are tier 1 relationships. Anytime I'm giving them my attention or my time or doing something for them, like I cut my son's hair right here, that was something that benefited that relationship. So for me, that is productivity. For me, that is progress. And this is why it is so important, especially if you have OCPD symptoms. I care less about the diagnosis. If you have these symptoms and you're having a really hard time in your family life, or just making time for friends or your entertainment, yourself, you really need to pay attention to these streams, lock in, and try my strategies out, because these strategies are going to help you with that relationship with progress that you might be struggling with. We have to change the definition of it. It's imperative. Look at that word. I like that word, imperative. That was a nice one. So let's keep going. Have excessive doubt and indecisiveness. This is huge. And this excessive doubt gets coupled with another one, and I'm going to see if it's inside of here. Let me see. Frequently become overly fixated. So this have excessive doubt and decisiveness goes hand in hand as an issue with this one. Have difficulty working with others or delegating tasks unless they agree to do things exactly as the person wants. And I'll tell you why. With people who have OCPD, we are extremely high candidates for burnout. I don't think that's a secret. I don't think it's rocket science. If you are extremely devoted to getting work done, being productive, you are going to lead yourself down the road to burnout. And this is the thing that I noticed. A lot of the burnout comes because we load ourselves up with so much work, and then all of the work that we do, we have such crazy expectations for the work where everything has to be perfect. And that is extremely difficult to maintain. Imagine this. Imagine you have an NBA team, and we'll say the Boston Celtics, because for whatever reason, but no. Even better. Let's say the Los Angeles Lakers, because LeBron James is on that team. And imagine if the organization, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, had this expectation that every single game, they win the game. The other team scores no points in the game. They win by over 100 points in the game. They don't turn the ball over at all. They get no fouls called on them. They have no issues with any physical violence, so nobody gets injured, and they win every single game. So every game, 81 games, they win it like that. But pause, we also have to go into the playoffs, so they have to sweep every single team in the playoffs 4-0, the exact same way. Over 100 points scored, no points scored on them, no turnovers. They don't get blocked. They don't get the ball stolen. They don't go out of bounds. They don't foul anybody. They make they have a 100% field goal percentage and a 100% free throw percentage. And they win the NBA championship, right? They win it. Let's just say they were able to do it somehow. Let's say they did that, and that was the expectation for the organization to do that for the rest of that owner's life. So let's say if the owner is going to live for 78 years and he bought the team when he was 28 years old, he has at least 50 years that he has to maintain every single game being a perfect scoring game, no turnovers, no points scored on you, over 100 points scored. All of these crazy expectations year after year after year. And it doesn't stop there, right? Because now you go into the offseason. The offseason has to be perfect. You land every single major free agent. You never go over your salary budget. Every single draft pick that you pick is the number one draft pick. You only get the best people on your team. Everybody's getting along. No disagreements. No media crap. Imagine that. I really take a second to imagine this. Jesus, that was loud. But no, seriously, imagine that. And take it to another level. This is where it becomes an issue. So that's how somebody with OCPD is living naturally. This is not like, I know that was an extreme example, but this is how people who have OCPD like myself, I know I do, and other folks that I have talked to, that's our natural state. We want to be that perfect organization, no mistakes. Another thing, when I say media, I didn't even talk about social media. Every single social media post has to be perfect. No errors, no typos, only the best graphics. Another thing, nobody can say anything bad about our team. So if Stephen A. Smith is on ESPN talking trash about LeBron James, now we are upset because how can you say we because all the while that we have all of this stuff that we're able to keep perfect, we just know one day it's gonna crumble. One day it's gonna crumble. Everything that we've been working towards this perfect score, perfect game, 81-0 season, NBA championship, sweeping every single team, not getting a single point score. We just know one day is going to be a rookie from Arkansas that's going to come in the fourth quarter during a regular season game, just a plain Thursday game, and it's going to be garbage time. He's going to get that lucky bucket. And then our entire idea of reality, our entire perception that we've been putting out on who we are, how we interact, how the world should perceive us, is shattered just like that glass. That's deep. And I don't even like saying stuff is deep, but I say that's deep because that just resonated with me so much. You want everything to be perfect, but you have that self-confidence that one tiny thing is going to go wrong, and that one tiny thing that goes wrong taints everything else. So I know that got a little bit deeper than I wanted to there, but this is really important. I want you guys to really understand while I'm going through these OCPD tendencies, I need you guys to understand how deep this is, how real this is, how it is inside of the head of somebody with OCPD. Even if they might be smiling or they might just seem like they're extremely focused, they might have this stuff on the inside that they're dealing with, and it might contribute to how they act with other people, how they interact with other people. So what I said about this connection with that self-doubt, indecisiveness, I just told you about that. And indecisiveness, just a small example of this. This is us doubting every single draft pick that we pull. This is us doubting, okay, did we pick the right draft pick? Is this draft pick going to turn the ball over? Because all it takes is that draft pick stepping over that out of bounds line one time or trying to pass the ball to another rookie one time and we lose that perfection. Glass shattered. Let me turn that crap down too. Hold on, y'all. Because I'm probably going to play that sound effect often. And I don't want to break you guys' eardrums. I don't think that's fair. So let's do this. Glass shattered. Let's try it again. Is that better? I hope that's better. So let me take before this, let me do the excessive doubt we've done, indecisiveness we've done, but let me just show you guys how that relates to the difficulty working with others or delegating tasks unless they agree to do everything as you want. And this is where it gets extreme to another degree. It's as if it is multiple degrees of extremeness when it comes down to OCPD. So let's talk about this because I deal with this as well. So I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's connected. Take that same Lakers organization. And the person who just commented in YouTube, welcome to the YouTube chat. Appreciate you. Oh, you were already in the YouTube chat. I don't know why I thought you were on Twitch. But yeah, tell me how I can say your name. I want to say your name. Let me say your name somehow. Everybody leave a like if you are here. Make sure you subscribe or follow the page, whatever it is. Just get the crucial information from here, y'all. I think this is my best stream so far. I'm going on, I'm rambling a little bit, but the thing about it is this. We're going to take so much critical information from this and be able to serve this out in chunks of content over the next few weeks. So although I'm going on about this stuff, it is critical information and we'll be able to make use of it. So I'm fine. I'm on task. I'm on track. And you never know who might pop in and need this information. But listen to this. With that delegation issue I told you about, that owner of the Lakers does not have confidence in anybody on the team. And that includes LeBron James and Luka Doncic. They don't have the confidence in them to maintain that same level of perfection. Justin, welcome in. I've been seeing your messages, but I can't read them because I'm streaming. So feel free to drop anything in here. We're talking about men's mental health awareness. And we're talking about OCPD in particular and what it really looks like in real life, right? So this is the thing. That person, that owner does not have any faith at all and even the best players on his team, unless they have a proven track record that they can do every single thing exactly to the T, just as they like it, to the same. And what I like to look at it as is this: you have to show me that you care as much as I do, and you have to show me that you can do it as good as I can. Let me make it better. You have to show me that you care as much. You care. Let me actually hold on. You have to show me that you care more than I do, and you have to show me that you can do it better than I can. That's the reality of the situation, because that expectation is so high. So if you're an owner, you literally, if you don't have faith in your players, and this is the thing that when I said with LeBron James and Luka not having confidence in them, they can earn your confidence over time. They can earn your trust, but by default, you don't just have that trust for them because you might have been let down in the past. You might have tried to shortcut things in the past and gotten screwed. You might have just had bad time, a poor job. You've probably done a poor job delegating. Honestly, I can attest to this. I've been a horrible delegator. Horrible. I ask people for things, and then I have a hard time explaining exactly what I need. I'm not clear. I'm not realistic with what I want them to do. And ultimately, I'm just being unfair. And Justin, who just popped into YouTube, is somebody that can attest to this because he's the first person outside of when I was in school. He's the first person I ever asked to delegate. I ever delegated anything to do a project for me. And he can probably tell you how many projects realistically that I had him start, work on, stop work on in the middle of doing the work. Am I lying, Justin? Am I lying? How many projects? How many projects? I need some Jeopardy music. That'd be fun to add. But that becomes an issue. So you're looking at delegation and delegating tasks, and I want to explain how deep of an issue this can really be. Because when I mentioned a man needing to be a leader and having OCPD, if a man cannot delegate properly, he's going to fail. I don't think I can dumb down anymore, honestly. I think that's straightforward. And this goes for women too. You know, women, you do have leadership roles as well. My wife is a leader. She leads my son. I lead her, and God leads the home. And then my son leads his toys, and he can lead the dog. But for me, I think that leadership as a man is so critical. We have to have confidence in where we're going, or at least have a strategy if it doesn't work out. We have to be able to delegate tasks so that people know what they need to do, what role they need to play. And we have to have these realistic expectations for folks so we're not driving people crazy, because nobody wants to run under a dictator who, this is a good one. I like this one. I'm gonna put this on a shirt. Nobody wants to be up under an indecisive dictator. Nobody. I would rather you be a decisive dictator and be confident in the decisions you're making if you're going to be a dictator. Like, actually, show me where you stand, because then I know at least wherever you are leading, wherever you're going to lead us, I have faith that you're leading us in an area that you truly, truly believe and have confidence or data to back it up as a positive and a great decision, a decision worth making. So that is something that we really had to take seriously, especially during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, is delegation. How do you delegate better? I have a bunch of videos on it. We can talk about that another day. But let's do this part. Let's keep going. Use extreme caution to avoid what they perceive to be failure. What did I say? Glass shattering. And this is what is the big point of it to me right here. What they perceive to be failure. 2 questions. Number 1, who is they? Who is they? That is the first question. Because I think a lot of our OCPD tendencies, I think it has to do a lot. First of all, I always say it's extreme optimization. That's me living with OCPD, dealing with it my whole life, and talking with other folks. I've seen it less as perfectionism and more as extreme optimization and hyper efficiency. I've seen the perfectionism as a side effect or maybe even a driving force for it, but I think ultimately it is just that extreme desire to get things efficient and optimized. And when we talk about they, it just makes me understand that a lot of what we are presenting ourselves to be is not for us. So that they language is what I would want to dig deeper into that they language because I think this goes deeper than what we might think. I think it's deeper than just what our friends might think, what our family might think. I honestly think this can get even spiritual when you start reading the Bible and you start thinking, what will God think? Is God in this point of time, is God they? Because I always know that I think about making it to heaven. And it makes you every single step you take, you start thinking, man, God, is this the right step I should be taking? Is this what I should be doing? Am I treating people right? Am I sinning in, behind closed doors? All of that, nobody would know what I'm doing behind closed doors. But what you're doing behind closed doors, God would know. So for me to still hold myself to that standard, it really makes me think that this is more so it is a universal term that could be applied to the people in your life, but also when you go spiritual. And I think that's why a lot of people who come from extremely tight Christian homes, Christian backgrounds, single parent homes, or anywhere where it's really, really strict, I think you are more prone to develop these OCPD traits and tendencies. I honestly do. So let's go to this next part. My next question, real quick. My next question. Use extreme caution to avoid what they perceive to be failure. This part right here, perceive. This is where I think a lot of us have it backwards in our heads and where we go overboard is our perception is so skewed compared to the rest of the individuals who don't suffer from these traits. And what I mean is this, when I talk about us trying to get every single thing perfect, right? Every single thing has to be in order. We have to make sure that that glass is not shattered. We have our expectations where every single expectation that we have is a must have. And I always use the kitchen analogy. If you ask somebody to clean the kitchen and you have OCPD, but they don't have OCPD, and you say, can you clean the kitchen, please? They in their head, they might be thinking cleaning the kitchen must haves are washing the dishes, make sure dishes are put away, wiping the stove down, sweeping and mopping, right? That is their side of that's their expectation for what cleaning the kitchen might be. But when you have OCPD, naturally, you might have a much deeper expectation for it where in your head, you're thinking dishes washed, dishes dried, dishes put away, stove wiped off, microwave wiped out, oven scrubbed, refrigerator cleaned out, no trash in there, floor swept and mopped, cabinets clean, cabinets organized, the blinds are dusted, with air freshener sprayed, the rugs have been cleaned, when you have the little throw rugs inside, towels, all the towels and the apron and the glove and all of that stuff to pull food out, all of that is clean. And that might be what your expectation for clean is inside of your head, but that's not what somebody who doesn't have OCPD might be thinking. So that leads to a lot of disconnect because we are trying to communicate to folks our expectations without clearly communicating our expectations. And I don't think we do this intentionally because that would be inefficient. I think it comes down to the fact that, number one, we don't even have a clear understanding of what our must-haves are in our head. We don't have a clear list of every single thing. We might have a loose list of what it is, and then when even if those things get hit the loose list, we're going to think about things that were not strictly on our list that were not hit, and then make it seem as if the entire task was not done. So what the example I gave you, if I didn't communicate that I needed the blinds to be brushed or the blinds to be cleaned or dusted, even if the individual did everything else, but they didn't do that, and I didn't communicate that, I didn't even think about that as a serious thing, it was just an afterthought, then to me, you didn't clean the kitchen because it wasn't all the way done. And this is where I know I'm doing a lot of teaching while I'm talking, but guys, bear with me. I think this information is critical. This is where I communicate that I think we need to be given our 80% and adjusting our expectations to 80% for ourselves and for others. So can you get 80% of the things that I have on my must-haves done? 100% would be amazing, but is 80% enough? I think it can be. I think we just have to change that expectation. And the reason why I say 80% is because I think naturally, I don't think we have an expectation to do 100% or I don't think we have a clear definition of what 100% is. I think we naturally think in 120%, where we're always thinking above and beyond. You didn't just want A's and B's on your report card. You didn't just want B's on your report card, right? All B's wasn't enough. You wanted straight A's. And honestly, if I can be real with you, if you thought you could realistically hit it consistently, you wanted all A pluses. You wanted a 4.5. That's the GPA that will be associated with it. So with that being said, it is unhealthy and unrealistic and unfair for you to go into life with an expectation of doing your 100% all the time and other people doing your 100% all the time. We have to lower that down. So go 80%, try to find out what that measurement actually is, go 80%, and then I think you'll have a much healthier relationship just in general. With yourself, you'll find more peace. With others, you'll find more grace. So these are the things that I recommend if you are having issues with that perception of failure. What you think might be failure, other people might think is amazing. I'm out of water, so I need to refill my water. But let me show you, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you, mark out the wrestling card game. This is a video game I built in 2021. And to me, the game, even when I look back on it, it's a basic game. It's not anything crazy. I think I could do a lot of things better. And that's my OCPD. That's me just doing the self-analysis of myself and my work. But look at the review on this. It's a positive review. 93% of people and 46 people reviewed this game. 93% of people enjoyed it. So that means to me that I'm clearly having a different expectation. Like I'm skewed. My perception is skewed. And this happened with another game I made called Scrap City. It had 5-star ratings and over 20,000 people played it. And I hated the game so bad that I deleted it. I literally took it off the App Store and deleted the game because I hated it. It wasn't efficient. It didn't feel professional. I just had imposter syndrome. It was trash to me. I didn't even want to promote it. So that's where that perception, you have to do better with it. And I could go deeper into this, but I don't want to keep going on this too long. But since I'm on this topic of games, let me share with you guys RGSS, which is the video game I'm developing right now. Go back to the 1980s and run your video game store the way that you want to run it. This is a simulation game I've been working on for the past year, and we are in crunch week. We are in crunch week. I'm trying to get all the base mechanics set up where they function so that I can start the marketing plan and then testing. Finally, we can start doing all of the polish. Let's go to the next thing on here. Be rigid and stubborn in their beliefs and ways of doing things. I think this is pretty straightforward, and I'm trying to think of a great example, but I think I'll use the one that I just gave you. With the kitchen and the expectations that I didn't make clear, I would be upset if the kitchen was not cleaned in the way that I wanted it to be clean, even if I gave my definition of what clean was supposed to be. So if I had a clear definition of what it was and everything, and I gave that expectation over, and that expectation wasn't met, even if it was only by, let's say, 5%, I would be upset because I would say it's really simple to do it how I explained, and the way I explained it is efficient. So honestly, a lot of people who have OCPD might be know-it-alls. They might think they know it all, but I don't think it's to put people down. I never think it's that. I think it's always towards moving towards efficiency. How can we make it more efficient? I've already done the research. I've already done the work on my end. Just take what I'm giving you. It works. It's a strategy. It works. Like you guys, if I'm giving you this game, if I'm giving you this information, and I have some results to show, even if you just see tiny wins from it, just take it and see if it works for you. But if you get to the point where you say, no, I'm not going to try your plan, I have a different plan completely, and you just disregard it, then that will make me a little bit stubborn to giving you more feedback or more advice or more tips, because I would think this person doesn't value my opinion. They don't care about anything I'm giving. So why should I keep giving it? That's a waste of my time. It's not efficient. So keep moving forward. Be unwilling to compromise. Yeah. I would say I have this issue anytime I've had projects where you work with other people at school, on school projects, even video games. I already had the whole thing in my head. The whole idea is in my head already. I really don't need anybody to come and try to give me ideas that will steer me too far away, because I'm going to be, obviously, I think you're going to have that doubt. And we talked about that doubt and indecisiveness. You might start feeling like you might start thinking that your idea is bad, or that there's no confidence in you, or you're not respected, whatever it might be. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think these are obviously connected. But I also think it is when you have OCPD and you don't understand that you are the person thinking how you're thinking, and you want everybody else to think how you're thinking, there is this level of control that you want to have over people and their brain. And it all boils down, this all is connected, because you don't want to compromise on anything that gives up your control. Even if it's 10% of your control, it is really, really hard to give it up. And I think a lot of these things scaffold. I don't think you get all of these at one time. This is something I have to do more research into. But I think about myself. I used to be a lot more willing. I think I'm a great teammate. I always set people up to win, and I always try to make sure people have what they need. I'm not so good. I've never been really, really good at the delegation part. Instead, I've always said, well, instead of me delegating, I'll just do it myself, because it would take me more energy, more time, and cost more money for me to explain what I need done than for me to just get it done myself. And that's how I've always been. So I don't know when exactly that happened, but whenever it happened, I think all of this stuff, the unwillingness to compromise, I think this came as a result of me just saying, I'll do it my way. But then you don't know if the I'll do it my way came because I just didn't like how people were doing stuff. I don't know. My wife always told me, she said, you'll ask somebody to design a logo for you, and then you'll go and change it 4 times. Or so I'm more of a collaborative worker. I don't really like giving stuff to people and then just letting them do it. I always want to have my hands in the pie, and I'm trying to get better with that. So that is where I think that compromise is interesting. I don't know. I never really thought about that as much. This is another thing. Let me tell you guys, OCPD, as well as any other mental health disorder, impacts everybody differently. So there might be people who have this a lot stronger than I do as far as not wanting to compromise. Real quick, I want to give you guys reminders. Thursday, that is the stream we are doing right now. I do this every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We review our week, and these typically don't go this long. They normally stop at 4:30. So we normally just review our week, see how things are going, and I give you an update on how I'm progressing with my tasks. It's a way for me to hold myself accountable, as well as give you all that additional insight into my life and how I run my life, having OCPD and ADHD. Saturday nights at 8:30, I'm live working on projects. We are getting work done. This is great if you want to do a body double session where you want to have somebody else getting work done with you. Or if you just have general questions, you just want to hang out, come by. We have a Jira ticker that I just put up here. I always show you what I'm actively working on so you can just see it and get that visibility, keep you engaged. That was dramatic. I forgot I had that. And last one I do is on Sundays. Every single Sunday, 1:15 p.m. Eastern time, I do a live stream where I show you guys how I plan the week out and how I critique myself. How do I enhance my skills? How do we get better? So that's those. And then I want to remind you guys, if you are here, leave a sub. I'd appreciate it. We are on a journey to get 1,000 subs, but we have to baby step it through. Let's try to get to 275 first, and we'll count that as a win whenever we do. So let's give ourselves a ding for this going forward to the next one. The next one we have on here is be unwilling to throw out broken or worthless objects, even if they have no sentimental value. Y'all, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna show you something. Give me 2 seconds. Hey, better. Let her know. No, I can't. I can't do it right now. Let me go on the screen. Tony. No. 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 Never mind. Yes. All right, guys. I was trying to find my old one, but this one is good enough. Actually, no, this is even better. I think this is an even older one. Look at this. iPhone. It doesn't say which version of it, but judging by the looks of it, I think I've had this thing since Michigan, maybe. I think I've had it since Michigan. I don't know what color my current one is, but the reason I bring this up is this. We associate this with hoarding. We associate it with hoarding. And I have never done deep research into hoarding, like the hoarding they show on the shows, on TV shows. But I would say this. I think OCPD hoarding is a lot different, just based off of the individuals that I've spoken with who deal with this, as well as I don't want to say goal because I can't speak to the other ones, but I would say the driving force. I think that's a better way for me to put it. The driving force. I think with OCPD, and this is why I stopped the whole perfectionism. I know they define it as perfectionism, and that's great. But me having OCPD is not necessarily always about perfection. It's about efficiency. How can we make things efficient? And sometimes efficiency is something being perfect, right? That's just what it is. But there is no perfection element that you can think of when you talk about hoarding a bunch of technology, hoarding a bunch of lotion, hoarding a bunch of deodorant, hoarding a bunch of tabs on your phone. There is no direct correlation that I think you can make between that and perfectionism enough for you to say that you would put perfectionism over hyper efficiency for OCPD. And that's me speaking from my experience. Guys, give me 1 second. 1 second. I will be right back. Right back. So I'm pulling this up, but give me 1 second. Watch it, AJ, chill.
Let me explain it again. You see, this block is a fryer. You're just gonna leave them like that, aren't you? The red blocks are all mixed with the blue ones, and the squares are with the triangles, and you don't even care. You really don't care. Let me explain it again. You see, this block is a fryer. You're just gonna leave them like that, aren't you? The red blocks are all mixed with the blue ones, and the squares are with the triangles, and you don't even care. You don't even care. Let me explain it again. You see, this.
All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I had to grab something real quick, but I am back. Let me do this real quick. Let me got my pop-ups. Let's drop that Jira task off. We don't need that to show. But yeah, the reason I brought this up is hoarding for me has always looked differently. I've never been the type of person where I have stuff all over the floor and all of that. Honestly, if I had my blanket out the way over here, I would show you a full 360 of my office. I'm Chucky.
This block is
I'm Chucky. Look, I'm Chucky.
explain it again.
Everything, I have a saying that my son can probably repeat word for word. If it doesn't have a place, it goes to the trash. I'm really big on organizing stuff. I have a lot of bins. All of his action, when I built I built out a full wall cabinet for my son so we could put all his toys and stuff in there inside of it. And then I bought bins so he could put all of his toys separated by bin. And I even got to the point where I separated his action figures by the type of action figure and the size. So he has a bin just for his 6-inch or 6-inch wrestling action figures, and it's just wrestling action figures. He has a separate bin for his 6-inch Marvel action figures. That's heroes and villains. And then also the other ones that would be size adjacent. So for his Galactus, because Galactus toy is about that big, the Thanos toy is about this big, Hulk, Venom. So those go in there because they fit. That's what you would play with. And then he has a whole separate bin for his oversized 12-inch Marvel action figures. And they could all fit in different bins. You could mix match them. But for me, he has another bin for his small cars, another bin for his underwear, for his clothes, his shirts, his bottoms, a bin for technology. Everything is organized. That's my point. Everything is organized. Even my office. My office is extremely organized. I don't have a lot of crap out. I have everything even over on this side is organized, even if you can't see it. But I keep way too much crap that I probably will never need to keep going forward. I might not ever use it again. For example, this iPhone. I had 3 of these. I never go back to iPhones. All I do is buy a new phone when it gets to the point where I absolutely need it. And that's going to take me into another thing that I'll show you guys, which is really deep. But watch this. I'm going to show you something else. Watch this. Look at my phone. Hold on. Look at that crack. See that? That crack has been on my phone for a few months now. And it's not that I can't afford to get the phone fixed, because obviously I revamped my entire streaming setup recently. So it shows that the resources were there. It's just in my brain, I refuse to dedicate it to my phone. My phone still works. And that's going to take us into a completely other one, which might not even be on here. But it kind of is this. Be unwilling to throw out broken or worthless objects, even if it has no sentimental value. This to me is the same thing. Instead of getting rid of the phone and just buying a new phone, I say it's still doing what I needed to do. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it. And that's the same thing with the wires. I have so many chargers, way too many chargers. But the thing that gets OCPD people trapped, and I think this is, I'm confident in saying if I ask 10 people if they have this experience, I think at least 7 of them would tell me this is the case. We hoard things, or we keep things that we might need in the future, and then it gets validated because we end up needing it in the future. And I think that is what winds up getting a lot of us trapped. I have so many wires, so many different cords from old game systems, from old computers, just in general. I have so many cords. But there have been times where I have needed cords. And what did I do? Instead of me having to spend money going to find or buy cords or wait, I go on my bin with all my cords, and I just look through until I find the cord I need. And guess what? It works. It works. I always have exactly what I need. Even for this stream, I did not have to buy a bunch of cords for my technology to work. I think I bought a single cord, and that cord was to connect my lights from this side of the wall all the way over to the other side of the wall. I think that was the only cord I needed. Every other cord I had already. Batteries, we keep batteries. My mother sent me this Amazon thing, which keeps all your batteries in one place, so I don't just have to hoard batteries all over the place, but I know where all my batteries are. I wind up needing them. Cardboard. I told you, I love to do home improvement projects. That includes painting. You like to use cardboard on the floor when you paint so you don't get it all over the floor, on the ceilings, whatever you do. My garage is just full of cardboard. It was full of wood. But I wound up using all of these things. I used the batteries. I used the wires. Even though I've had them for 3 years, I've used them. I've used the cardboard boxes to paint. When I did home improvement projects recently, I used them. I've used the lotion. I bought like 12 bottles of lotion. I had 12 bottles of lotion that I made a video about. It'll be coming out soon. And I kept buying new bottles before the next one would run out, just so I wouldn't have to go a day without having lotion on my body. So I had a whole bunch of lotion bottles with about 12 to 13 or 12 to 20% left inside of them. And I had a bunch of them, but for me, it was useful because there have been times where I've run out and had to try to force lotion out of them. So it is as crazy as it sounds, guys. It's actually a method to our madness. The issue, though, is we go overboard with it. So yes, having extra lotion on deck is great, but do I really need to keep 12 bottles of the lotion? Probably not. Maybe I could keep one extra bottle of lotion, and just take all of the empty bottles that I had, the other bottles, and dump whatever I had. So I always only have one extra bottle of lotion at all times. Maybe I don't need every single piece of cardboard. Maybe I just keep like give myself a number where I keep 15 pieces of cardboard that are big enough to cover a whole floor. Maybe instead of me keeping every single wire or keeping them how I have them, I grab additional little bins that can go inside for the wires, so I know exactly how many wires I have. And if the wire is not working, and I've guaranteed 100% that it doesn't work and it doesn't have a short, maybe I need to get rid of it. It's just all of these things, guys. I don't think it's always hoarding the way it's presented. It's hoarding in a different way. We keep things that might be useful to us in the future. And I always say this: if you're ever having a zombie apocalypse, or how COVID was, when everything was just going to crap and people couldn't find things, people couldn't find toilet paper, you want to be with somebody who has OCPD. Again, if there's ever a situation like that again, where there's a shortage on something, or zombies, or if it's a war, anything that requires you to prep and have enough to ration going forward, you need to have somebody in your life that has OCPD and follow their lead, because they will likely help you be prepared. And we love that duty. We love that. If you give us that as a duty to say, hey, can you just help me? I trust you enough to help me figure this out. Can you help me? You don't understand how much value that gives us, because a lot of times we feel like we're a nuisance. We think we're a nuisance to people because we're on people's heads. We hold people accountable. We have a hard time working with people. We really don't spend a lot of time with people. So I know a lot of my life, and even at times now, I know I'm annoying. My glass has been shattered. My glass was shattered a long time ago as far as my perception. I know I'm annoying. I know I'm extremely hyper. I play wrestling music. I have a 4-year-old son. I'm having wrestling matches with him. I might just start being silly with my wife. I might just be silly around other folks. Just whatever the case might be. I talk a lot. I'm always teaching folks, even if they don't want to be taught. My glass was shattered a long time ago, so I'm used to it. But what does feel good is if people do come to you for advice. When people come, I should have that would be funny if I had it right there, but I don't. But if people come to you for advice, I have people come to me for life advice. People have come to me for career advice. People have come to me for relationship advice. People have come to me for school advice and money advice. People come to me for advice. But I think another thing that has made me really feel good is that at my job, people see my value and my attention to detail, and they try to pull me into big meetings that have to do with optimizing stuff, and they want you to be part of it. So that also allows us to feel our value. So that's my challenge. If you do have OCPD, if there's somebody out here who does struggle with this, and you're trying to find your value, sounding so country, you're trying to find your value, I recommend that you, first of all, identify what your strengths are, work on improving your strengths, and then use your strengths in a way publicly that people can see it as a strength. So if it's keeping stuff organized, maybe you come to work one day and you got a bunch of folders and you have them color coded. Don't go too deep. We go too into detail. Just keep it 3 levels max. But go ahead and just organize the stuff so that everybody can have a good time there. Or if it's making sure meetings are scheduled on time, maybe you need to be the person that holds everybody accountable by scheduling the meeting invites. Or if it's proofreading, maybe you be that person who says, okay, I'll volunteer 1 hour a week every single Friday for my job if we want to have proofreading office hours. And I thought about ChatGPT, which that does it now too, but you'd be surprised. Some people don't know about ChatGPT. Some people don't want to go into it. So try to make yourself useful and try to be useful in the areas that your strengths lie. That's really important, really crucial. Another thing, Okay, so we went through delegation. We went through that. Let's keep going. I got to run through this because I'm going way over. I took my Adderall, y'all. I do this sometimes. My Adderall makes me just talk and talk, and it also makes time fly. So that's a struggle for me. I'm open about it. I don't care. It is what it is. I am who I am. I get stuff done, and I try to be a great person. I'm not a drug addict, and at this point, people who have their beliefs and their feelings about Adderall, hey, that's yours. Go ahead, keep them. But I'm going to do what works for me. So next thing, frequently become overfixated on a single idea, task, or belief. I don't think this even needs to be explained too into detail. Obviously, you can scaffold this and really see how deep it goes. But even now, the fact that I just wanted to list the symptoms. And instead of me just listing the symptoms, I said, no, I need to play a sound. Instead of playing a sound alone, I said, no, I also need to give an example. Then it said, okay, I need to give my life story. I just keep going deeper and deeper. So you're literally in the midst of watching me overfixate on an idea. But what this last part is what I think is actually really interesting. It's the belief. I'm so passionate about what I'm talking about. I truly believe in what I'm talking about that it has Trump being a single idea and it has Trump being a single task. It is something that is deeply rooted in me that needs to be shared now. So I just think that's hilarious that you guys get to see. That's the point of these live streams. I don't want to come on here with these highly edited videos telling you about my mental health disorder, telling you how these strategies help me out. I don't want to do that. I want to come in and be real with you guys, show you guys my struggles, show you guys the growth, and hopefully you can learn from me. And hopefully you can learn to do what I do now. I laugh at myself. When I mess up or when stuff doesn't go right, I laugh. It's hard sometimes. I have that frustration, but I try to laugh it off, and it helps me out. Perceive everything as black and white. Dichotomous thinking. Dichotomous. Let me see. Hey Meta, how do you pronounce dichotomous? Okay, I pronounced it right. Thank you. So it is pronounced dichotomous thinking. And this is the black or white. Also, we refer to it as the all or nothing. This is the thing that I think has held so many of us back with different things in our lives. Rather that be a relationship where the person does not meet every single standard that you have set, or a project that you want to release, but you don't have every single thing done for it and you just keep it and shove it away or throw it away. It might even be related to things such as school. You might not feel educated or think you're educated because you didn't go all the way to get your college degree. You stopped, even if you stopped 90% of the way in, you might just not have that feeling of education. So it can range to so many different things. But what I think I've dealt with it a lot with outside of personal projects has been just home improvement stuff. Home improvement stuff. I've always had home improvement projects, and if I don't have all the supplies, I don't see a point in me starting it if I can't finish it. It's inefficient. I'm either wasting money, I'm wasting time, or I'm wasting my energy. My energy could be given to something I actually could complete. So I think that's important to really understand that black or white thinking because it goes deep. This is how we look at people. This is why a lot of people who have OCPD might have a hard time with friendships and staying connected to people in relationships and family because of that. First of all, that this part right here is actually connected. I was about to say it. Over focus on flaws in other people. This part. I don't even think this is. Honestly, I don't think this is. I think this should be adjusted. I think the Cleveland Clinic should really adjust this. I think this should be over focus on flaws in general. First of all, I think it's in general. We over focus on flaws. If we're outside and we find a piece of sidewalk that's crooked or something, we'll over focus on it. If we are driving down the street driving down the street and we see a stop sign crooked, we're going to focus on it and we're going to probably want to fix it ourselves. If you're walking inside of a restaurant and you see the picture on the wall is crooked, we're going to focus on that because we want it to get fixed. It's a flaw. So I think I don't think this was written by somebody who has OCPD. Myself, I don't think so. I think they do an analysis of people, but until you really get deep inside our heads, you don't understand how it really just tracks with everything. Everything is really related in some way. So it's not just over focus on flaws in people, it's just over focus on flaws in general. we are able to find spelling errors. My website and my page and my YouTube banner, I have a spelling error. I didn't even notice it, but then one day I noticed it, and every time I see it, it's in my head. I can't stop thinking about it. So that's big. But this makes it so hard with this because we expect everybody to be perfect. Your friends have to be perfect. Your family has to be perfect. If they do one thing to you that you don't like or you disagree with, even if it's not even to you, let's say you have a family member who they like to drink or smoke, and I can attest to me being guilty of this, and it is what it is. It's that this is just me. But it's certain things I don't like to associate with. So if you are doing things that I do not do, I don't associate with, then the relationship is going to be limited. It won't be where we're really hanging out, we're really doing all of this stuff because I just don't agree with that lifestyle. And that could relate to the rule following, all of that stuff, order, structure, law, all that stuff I think is related. But I think it really makes it difficult to get in relationships and have relationships with other people because of this. Last thing on here is have difficulty coping with criticism. I already went detailed into that. We don't need to go into this one because I've talked enough about it. Now, I've done all the talk about the different traits of having OCPD, the negative traits and all of this. Before I had my mental health evaluations and all of that good stuff, I suffered from all of this stuff tremendously. It was really, really, really deep for me where I had a hard time with every single one of these, and I still struggle with some now. OCPD does not just go away. I think you have to work on strategies to deal with your OCPD and have a layer. I think this is the first time I'm ever putting it like this. But right now, the OCPD seems like it's something that's sitting on the outside of your brain, and your brain is here. So anytime you have issues with OCPD, your OCPD is just going right here. It gets that direct connection. I think instead, what we need to do is focus on trying to put a wall in between. So instead of having the OCPD have that direct line to our brain, we need to have a filter. And all the thoughts that come in, all the feelings that come in before we even let it get deeply seated in our brain because of the obsessive compulsiveness of it, we'll keep thinking about stuff and we can get madder and madder over time. It's like the Hulk, he just gets madder and stronger. I think that's the same thing with OCPD. You get madder over time, you get more frustrated, you take things more personal, and it just builds up and then it comes out in these rage balls or volcanic eruptions, as some people have said. So I think instead of doing that, if we could find a way to build a filter, similar to how I have a filter right here that helps with certain sounds I make, this is what we need to do with our brains. We need to have that filter between our OCPD tendencies and traits and then our sensitive, very, very vulnerable brain so that we can understand when we are in that OCPD thought process. Because the type of disorder it is, you typically won't know that you're even the issue unless somebody brings it up to you, or you come across this video and you start resonating with every single thing on here. Or you only need 4 to actually qualify, so that's why I care less about the diagnosis. I care more about the symptoms, but you typically won't know. So if you don't really have that filter, I think you easily will run away with OCPD. And I'll give you an example of how I work with my filter. If my son does something to me, when I first had my son, when we first had our son, I have a very weird noise thing with sound, the high pitched noise. It just drives me crazy. I can't think. When I can't think, with me having ADHD, it makes it difficult. Didn't know any of this during that time. But with my son, and I love my son so much, so it's my favorite person. But what I always say about my son is this: I need to stop expecting my 4-year-old to think like my 28-year-old, my 29-year-old self. I think that is probably the most critical advice I can give somebody who's a parent who has OCPD. We can't have these because we're going to do it naturally. You're not going to do it on purpose, but you're going to expect that your 4-year-old son or your child or cousin, whatever it might be, has the exact same thought process that you have. And we look at it as common sense. I never put that together. What we consider to be our thought process, our extreme thought process, hyper efficient process, we look at this to be common knowledge and common sense. And that's not fair. Because how could I expect my 4-year-old to understand the importance of me working in silence? How could I expect my 4-year-old to understand that I have ADHD and when he starts singing and dancing and calling my name all at the same time, I'm not able to be productive? How? The only way I've been able to do it because I can't have that expectation. But what I try to do is be transparent. That's a good word. I try to be transparent. And I explained to my son, and this is why I talked about the roles, all of the different roles with men's mental health that we need to prioritize. I mentioned a son being one of them, especially kids. It would be completely unfair for me to take out my mental health disorders out on him because I didn't get it checked. Let me rewind. It would be completely unfair, completely wrong, and it would be selfish for me to take out my mental health side effects and disorders out on my 4-year-old son, verbally, emotionally, whatever it might be, simply because I have not decided to get my mental health in check. And that is why this is such an important thing for us, especially as men, because our children are going to look up to us. They're going to watch how we move about the world, how we interact with them. And if we aren't giving them our best, they're going to wind up getting side effects of it. You might lead to your children getting depression, or they might have anger issues or self-confidence issues, just things that you don't want to put in your children. If you are loving parents, you don't want to put this in your children. But I think a lot of it comes unintentionally. I do. You can do your part by making sure your mental is in check. Making sure it's in check, I think that's doing your part. Now I know there Anton Daniels is a big streamer on the platform. And it's somebody I agree with a lot of his takes. He's from Detroit too, and I think his mindset is where my mindset is as far as working and grinding and stuff. But it was something he said, and I disagree with this. He said that mental health, and I hate that I can't quote him exactly, so I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But it was something to the extent of you don't need therapy, you need to get more money. Actually, I think I did that. I think I did that pretty well. Actually, you don't need therapy, you need to get more money. And I laughed at it because I don't know if when he said that if he was being serious or if he was just making a statement for the clip. I don't know, but I disagree with that. And I'm somebody who has money and still have mental health issues, because something that's not talked about on here is the frugality element, where even when you have money, you don't spend your money, you just hoard it all. You don't invest your money. You just have a whole block that's not allowing you to enjoy the rest of your life. So with what he said, that's cool for certain people to say, but somebody, take it from me, somebody who has been successful in their profession, in their careers. I've been able to make more than the average person and for as long as I've been working, and still give back at the same time, still do what I can to help other people. My mental health was something that was holding me back from reaching my full potential as a father, as a husband, and ultimately as a man. I could not do everything that I needed to do without understanding my diagnosis and then understanding the impacts of my diagnosis on other people, because you wind up taking out all of this stuff on other people in it unintentionally, right? So one of the first things I did was I started, and I think let's start pivoting now. Let's get to the end. Let's get to the end of the game, because it's already 6:30. This is way too long, guys. I'm almost at 2 hours long with this stream, and I don't want to keep this going for too long. But I do want to say this. I have a list here of things that improved in my personal life ever since I started taking my mental health serious. And I want you guys to understand that I'm not a fluff type of person. I'm not going to BS you. I'm keeping it honest with you, transparent with you. And I want you guys to really, truly understand that this was a list I made in about 30 seconds. I was just in the bathroom thinking, I said, man, I really want to give people transparency as to what it's like on the other side. So once you have the mental health diagnosis, I told you guys a lot about what that was like and my struggles. It was impacting my relationship with my wife, my son, friendships, business, all of that was suffering. But this is what it's like on the other side of it. So ever since I found out that I have ADHD, OCPD, OCD, I've been working on myself. And this wasn't where I had to keep going to therapy. I went to therapy, I think, 6 times. I learned more about myself every single time. It was like unlocking memories that you didn't even realize you had. But for me, therapy was I was learning about my brain. It was basically as if I went to college for my brain. That's how I looked at therapy. I was becoming certified in my brain. It wasn't, oh, I need to go and sit on the couch and cry. Although that might be the case for some folks, it wasn't the case for me. I needed to go because I couldn't understand why I was so blocked. Why could I not let my wife spend money on me for holidays? Why did I have to keep the same socks that had holes in them, even though I had money to go buy new socks? Why did I not want to buy new clothes? Why did I not want to invest in my presentation, but I wanted my presentation to be so serious? Why did I start projects and get so excited, but then right before it's time to release or the project is 80% of the way, I scrap it and move on to something else and never go back to it? I had to figure out why. And I wound up learning about the ADHD, the OCPD from Healthy Gamer GG. I was watching that, thought I had OCD, and wound up learning about OCPD in that stream and immediately resonated with it all. And then I learned about the ADHD while I was at therapy. So I actually learned about a whole nother portion of my brain by going to therapy. So that is, first of all, that's the baseline. Now these are things that improved. Number one, healthier relationship with my wife. Ooh, wait, hold on. Much healthier relationship with my wife. We have compromised. I'm able to compromise. Well, first of all, I delegate better. I delegate more clearly. If I need my wife to do something, I try to explain exactly how I need her to do it so that she has a clear understanding and I can make sure it's realistic what I'm asking her. And I'm not just telling her to do something just for the sake of it. Another thing is I spend more time with my wife, intentional time. So instead of me always being preoccupied with work and always saying, well, I have to pay the bills like this. I have to pay the bills like this. When she comes down and chills with me and we just talk or whatever it is, I'm working, but I'm also leaving my ear open for her. And in the past, I wouldn't have been like that. It would have just been work, 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 leave me alone. I want my headphones on. I want to zone out. So that improved. Another thing, when I started tackling that frugality, it made it easier for me to be a giver to my wife. So I've been able to randomly buy my wife some dresses, bought and paid a truck off for her. Hold on. For that one, we gotta do that again. We gotta do that one again. One more time. Bought and paid a truck off for her.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
All right, that was just for fun, y'all. I had to have fun with that one because that was something I never expected myself to do. Going on trips, doing stuff like that, even though right now I'm in a different season. So I'm trying to just focus on using the business funds to build something and get the returns on it. But I've been able to be a much better giver to my wife. Give her of my time, give her of my energy, give her of my patience. I think my patience with her is so much better. We learned about her mental health, and it's just been a win all around with my relationship with my wife. So let's go ahead and get out with another one. Justin, you already know, real spiel. Next on the list. I didn't have it on here, but I have a healthy relationship with my son. My son loves me, and he loves to play. He's a daddy's boy. I always have work to do, and he's too young for me to teach him how to do this. So we have hobbies that are separate from me working, and they always take away from me working. Me being a father, I have my own office. I work from home. I'm always at home, run my business from home. My wife is a stay-at-home mother. My son is always he's homeschooled. We're always here. So he always wants to be in my vicinity, interacting with me, doing something. I love it. I thank God that I have that relationship with my son. But I've struggled, and this is something I'm getting better with, but I will tell you, I'm getting better at it. So I'm trying to work on it, but I'm getting better. And that's the point of this. I'm getting better at prioritizing my son's happiness, like the right now happiness. He sure, he'll want the bills to be paid and all that stuff, but he doesn't know how that impacts him directly. He does know how it impacts him directly if daddy has a wrestling match with him. He does know how it impacts him if, yeah. You dropping it out there. Don't put it out there. Don't put it out there. But yeah, he does know how it works if I am playing basketball with him. He knows how it works if I go to the workout in the garage and I'm doing squats and he gets his little workout bench and I allow him to do the workouts with me, or I give him a compliment, or I give him my attention. He does understand if I teach him something, if I take time out of my day to sit him down and teach him how to read some more letters or how to read a book, or I play a little game with him, or I make him something that allows him to have fun and learn at the same time. Our relationship improved with my son. Those two things enough are win enough for me. Those two things. If those were my only two wins, I would say that me going to therapy, me focusing on my mental health was successful because of those two wins of building a healthier relationship with my wife and a healthier relationship with my son. Those are my two tier 1 relationship members. Now let's go to number 2. It was easier to set boundaries. Me being a workaholic, somebody who loved to work, it was really easy to get taken advantage of in a workplace because people always knew that you would go above and beyond. Now, I've been blessed where I didn't have that happen a whole lot. But what this allowed me to do is make sure it didn't happen at all. So if I started feeling overworked, what I like to do is this. I balance my time. I get my hours back. If I'm spending more hours here, then I make sure I spend less hours on the back end so it all balances out. If there's something I can't do, I can't commit to a bunch of stuff, instead of me saying yes, or better yet, instead of me saying, all I have to say is
Say hello to the bad guy.
and it definitely feels like you're the bad guy with it sometimes, but I think it's necessary for us to set boundaries. And we have to set boundaries with family. This is a big one, guys, and I hope that you guys get this. I hope this is really clipped and it gets in the hands of the right person. There's a reason why I have tiers in my relationships. Because family, especially if you grow up in a really, really close family, they will make you think that everybody is on the same level as your significant other and your child. Your mom and dad will feel as if, or believe that they should be valued and their opinion should be valued as highly as your significant other and child. And that's false. Matter of fact, that's the truth percentage of that is negative 100%. It's impossible. It doesn't make sense. So one of the big things I had to do was split my relationships up into tiers. And I'm very transparent about my tiers. I don't think it's anything to hide. I think it's natural. It's what's supposed to happen. We just have to normalize what we accept. And what I always say is people will get over it. They'll be all right. But my tier 1 relationship, the only people in it, that's my wife and my son. That's what happens when you get married. You build that connection with your wife and son. And I honestly, I believe this is it's a little technical, but I believe if it's boyfriend and girlfriend, I think it, but I do see where you could put family, your mother, your father above them because you have no true commitment to a boyfriend or girlfriend. But if you have children, the second you have children, that becomes your tier 1 relationship. And no other relationship outside of your spouse, no other relationship compares to that relationship. Then I have tier 2. I appreciate you, Justin. And then I have my tier 2 relationships. That's where you put your mother, father, siblings. Your tier 3 relationship, that's where you put your cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. And your tier 4 relationship is where you put your coworkers, your best friends, people you just interact with or socialize that you really have a good connection with. And you can keep going as many tiers you need, but I like to keep stuff limited because we'll get too deep. So I say about 5 tiers is enough. And tier 5, those are the coworkers you get along with, but you don't really like them, but you get along, you make it work. I luckily don't have coworkers like that. I've been blessed to have really cool coworkers for the past few years, so thank God for it. But it is really important to do that so you can set boundaries. So if it comes down to something that's a tier 1 relationship and a tier 2 relationship, you don't have to spend time in indecisiveness. You can easily make that call and say tier 1. It's simple. That's what needs to have my attention right now. So that's why I wanted to go a little deeper with setting boundaries. It's really, really helpful. Another thing, better understanding of myself. I talked about this over the course of this stream. I know who I am. I know how I tick. I know what makes me tick. And I know when I'm getting to that ticking point. So I am now able to navigate my life a little bit differently. If I'm starting to think I'm burning out, I take a step back. If I start to think I'm caring too much about my perception and think that somebody is going to break the glass that I built, I break my own glass. If I start to think that I'm not being productive enough, then I'm able to get what I called my mountain, track my mountain, and from wherever I'm at, I'm able to look down and see that I've actually been productive, or I can also say, okay, I can improve this going forward. Whatever the case might be, I know how to motivate myself now. I know how to congratulate myself now. I know how to healthily critique myself now. I know how to, trying to put that up there. I know how to be fair to myself now. That's huge. I don't put these false or unrealistic expectations on myself anymore. I've reduced it down from 100, my 100, which was 120, down to my 80%, which is a normal person's 100%. You got to know yourself. You do. And what that ties into is that ties directly into more confidence, which is on here. So much more confidence in myself. I know what my strengths are, where they lie, and how to use them. If I'm in my career, I do not know every single thing that my coworkers might know about a specific topic. They might have a different understanding of it, but I understand my strength does not lie in that. My strength lies in my ability to figure it out. I can figure something out. I can learn enough about a topic to get to a solution. It might take a little bit, but I can do it. So once I got that understanding and I realized how that tied in with my OCPD, my hyper efficiency, wanting to do things in an efficient way and optimize everything, and then my ADHD, where I can hyper focus, and I tied those two things together with a clear goal and boundaries. Woo-wee! Woo-wee! Let me tell you, it's magical. It's a magical combination. So definitely understand yourself better. It improves your confidence. Another thing I have on here is less stress. I need another sound effect for do 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 do, just that calming melodic noise. But I don't have anything in here that would make sense. So less stress, y'all. Less stress. I'm not as high strong as I used to be. I used to be very, very high strong. I was always on edge because there was always something to do, and I could not get the thing that I needed to do off my brain. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't have fun. If I went out places, I couldn't stop thinking about the work. I couldn't be present in the moment. So that's another thing with less stress is I'm more present in the moment. So yeah, I'm way more present, and it's really helpful. I have clearer focus. With me understanding my ADHD, once I found out, I went and got certified as a SCRUM product owner in Agile, because Agile is what I've been using at my company, at the company I work at. But also, Agile allows you to literally go against the all or nothing mentality, because everything does not need to be done at once. You do things in cycles and you iterate upon them. So I like to make my life iterative instead of an all or nothing, black or white, waterfall type of lifestyle. And what really helped me was that getting that product owner certification. Becoming a certified product owner helped me out because I learned how to break up tasks better, how to set better MVPs, how to set better realistic expectations for yourself and your capacity, how to say no to bringing things in. I benefited tremendously from getting that certification. So that definitely is on there with helping me get a clearer focus. Another thing I have, increased earning potential. With me being less frugal and holding on to every single dime, I've been more willing to invest. So I've been investing in people. I've invested in products and getting services done for my game. I think for my game, if I'm not mistaken, I'm nearing 40 grand total. I'm nearing 40 grand into this game. Business, no, this is business expense, business money, but I wouldn't have even done 400 of business expenses back in the day. So to do 40K on it, I'm really, really proud of myself. And I always have to remind myself that I'm baby stepping through, but I'm baby stepping. I'm big stepping. I'm baby stepping, but I'm big stepping at the same time. So that is something that has increased my earning potential because you invest money and you make a quality thing, it multiplies typically. It can multiply the outcome, what you get out of it. So I have faith that what I'm doing is going to do that. And even my presentation, how I present myself now, nice. If I'm doing a polo, if I'm always smelling good, got some nice cologne, decent watch collection. My camera quality is great. My lights are great. How I present myself online is professional and serious. That has brought me money where I've had parents actually come to me who've never met me and say, hey, can you, what did she say? I love your presentation online. I have a son. He's just graduated from college. He wants to do this. I wanted to know if you can help or whatever the case might be. And that became a coaching client. So I literally have improved my earning potential literally by the dollar there by addressing these different issues that I dealt with and being willing to invest in my presentation, my products, my life, whatever it might be. Another thing I have on here is healthy relationship with progress. I can go on forever about progress, but now instead of me just looking at progress as something that has to be money related, position related, or achievement related, I look at progress as I like to say buffets, but I call it value lanes or buckets. Bunch of value lanes and buckets. Got your tier one relationship. You have your job. You have your personal business, your mental health, your working out, whatever it might be. You have all of these different buckets. And anything that you do in your life, especially for people like me who I hate thinking I'm wasting my time, I have stuff like cutting my son's hair. And I'm showing you so you don't know, you don't think I'm lying. Look at this. I have cutting my son's hair as a ticket. And I give myself credit for it. I have it as a tier one relationship because it helps my tier one relationship. So when I'm doing it, instead of me thinking, oh man, I'm taking away from other stuff I could be doing, my mind is, oh man, I get to get this done. This is an easy win. And I get to go ahead and knock it off my list, make it complete, and ring the bell. It's a whole different shift. So you really, really, you get benefits. Another thing I have on here, more solidified identity. I had identity issues with my ADHD because I kept jumping into different things. I'm asking myself, am I a programmer? Am I a gamer? Am I a YouTuber? Am I content? What am I doing? And when I mentioned that you can't lead effectively as a man if you have no identity, it makes it really, really difficult for you to have that that confidence in yourself if you can't lead also and you don't know where you're going. So for me, it really, really helped me with solidifying my identity. I know who I am. I'm Shannon Williams, the OCPD coach. I help you build a healthier relationship with progress. How? I show you how I live my life. I show you how I manage my ADHD because it's something I have to manage. I show you how I manage my OCPD because it's something I have to manage. I show you how I do everything I'm doing professionally and still make time for my family, my loved ones, my mental health. All of the things I do in my life, that is my identity. I'm not a role. I'm not a position. Me as the person, that's who I am. Being a lover, being a giver, being a helper. All of these things are connected. So it really just made me, I just had so much more confidence in who I was as a person, what my purpose was. And I realized with my ADHD that I have the ability to jump around and do different things and still be able to get things done. I can do both. I just have to do it in a more structured way. And that's why I use the OCPD. I use the OCPD to structure my ADHD. They're not ready for that one. Again, I use my OCPD, which is really, really good at keeping things in order, organized, and structured. I use that to structure and manage my chaotic and creative ADHD. And it's been so helpful, so beneficial, so fruitful. I think that's a good word to use. I don't think I've ever used that word in a sentence. Oh, Justin, I see you on Twitch. Let me see what you said. You said something else. Okay. So Justin, I just realized you were putting this here. So let me do this. Let me read Justin's comments real quick. I feel you on the spending part. I definitely had to just spend on things I needed, or else the game wouldn't be anywhere near where it is right now. That's a case study right there. If you're not investing in your stuff, don't be surprised if it only goes so far. Next, he put, I've been trying to tell people to spend money where you need to, or you'll be reinventing the wheel for no reason. This is true. You spend more time trying to build everything out yourself instead of just listening and buying stuff that will really help you get ahead. Even when setting up the account for Xbox, I spent that $100 even though I was supposed to get it for free because I screwed up. I remember that. I think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, I think you told me about that. Didn't even fight it, LOL. I didn't even know OCPD was a thing, but maybe it could have saved me some money and heartache in the past. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm appreciative of all experiences. There you go. I didn't mean to press that, but we'll go with it anyway. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm appreciative of all experiences. That's valuable there. And Justin has known me, y'all, since I was 18 years old. Honestly, I was 18 years old. I was working selling shoes. I would take all of my checks that I would get selling shoes, and I would go to 7-Eleven, get a PayPal card or money order, and I would send my money to Justin, and he was working on my video game. And it wasn't even a lot. It was just whatever I had because I was only making about $200. So I was just sending money to Justin to get the game done. You remember that? He said, I remember that. And now you can tell the difference because I was doing that then, and now we do work now where, like, we just did a transaction yesterday actually for optimizing my video game. So he's optimizing my video game, working on that right now, which is me delegating because I said, okay, this is something great that he could do, and it gives me time to do other things as well. But then he also gets some benefit because he gets to get paid from it. And I didn't be cheap about it. I told him how much I could afford, and he said, okay, cool, I could do that for that price. But even being able to do that is something that was a struggle for me. Even at the beginning of this project, there were things I had him work on. I paid him to do different things. I asked him to do certain things. And in my brain, I would say, no, I don't like that idea. Let me try something different. And instead of me holding him accountable, I held myself accountable. So I would take the loss. I would just say, okay, cool. You don't have to do anything. Don't even pay me the money back on it. If I messed up, let me just go ahead and I'll take the L on it and we'll move forward. So I think with my OCPD, I have still struggled with it, but I've gotten much better. If I showed you guys the contact list, the credit list for my video game, I think I'm at about 30 people that have interacted. That means I've had to delegate things to over 30 people. And I used to have a difficult time delegating to one. And this is just here. I've been in other things at the same time when I was working on this game, leading teams, doing different things. So I thank God, y'all. I'm blessed. I took my mental health serious. I'm hoping and praying that you guys do the same thing. I always wonder why you did that, why you abandoned the other ideas for this one so abruptly. Look, and this is great because Justin is having a real conversation with you guys right now. He was there from the beginning. I didn't know I had ADHD. I didn't know that until about 2 years ago. And I had that coupled with OCPD. And OCPD makes it where you just never think anything is good enough to ship. So that combination, I always said, no, I have a better idea that can make more money, or I had something that would get me impulsive and I would jump to that. Okay, and last thing, as a benefit, new community, less isolation. When people find out they have OCPD, especially ADHD is a little different because so many people have it, but when they find out they have OCPD, there's a stigma attached with mental health in general. And it was really, it could feel really isolating. You might not understand yourself completely yet. You might not know how to express yourself to folks. You might come off abrasive. People might have thoughts in their heads on how you really think and how you really feel, as if you're being vindictive. And all of this can lead to isolation if you don't know what's going on with you. So when I learned I had OCPD and ADHD, I joined Facebook support groups right away. And I started seeing everybody posting the same content. I also started watching YouTube videos of people who talked about OCPD and resonating with the content, and it made me want to do more. So Daryl, who runs crap, why am I doing that? Let me see something real quick. No, not LinkedIn. Let me see. When you type in OCPD, what is Daryl's name on here? Oh, here it is. OCPD, My Life in Debris. So this is my guy right here. I really rock with him because I was watching his content, but when I found out I had OCPD, and it was so helpful. It was so helpful because I was hearing from himself. I think he had interviews with other people, different experiences. It was amazing. And what I wound up doing was reaching out to him when I started doing coaching. I reached out. And now I can honestly say that is one of my buddies. That is one of my buddies. We collaborate on a podcast every few weeks. I hopped on his channel. We're going to do some advertisements for the podcast on here. And that is somebody who has OCPD himself. He runs an organization, OCPD.org, right here, the OCPD Foundation. It's something he's trying to get up off the ground, link up with psychologists and therapists who can help people with it. It gives you information about it. And what I really wanted to show you guys is there's a forum. Let me see if I can find it. Forum. Oh, it's OCPD test. I should link to that in my videos. But here, there are groups for people with OCPD. And we need to, I like it. People are starting to get in here. So, yeah, this is really, really good. If you have OCPD traits, if you have the diagnosis, I care less about the diagnosis. I care about the traits. Take care of yourself. I don't think you're a bad person if you have OCPD. I don't. I think you might feel as if you are, though. I do. Because you don't understand yourself. You don't understand your ways and why you are how you are. So I hope you guys get peace. I hope you figure out what's going on. I hope that you take your mental health seriously, because it is what you need in life to make life have meaning, honestly. And let me see this. Another comment. I just got mildly educated on ADHD, so I feel your struggles. My lady is going through the same struggles right now, and I didn't understand what it was. She discovered the ADHD on her own. Let me switch to this one. The ADHD on her own, and when she outlined the symptoms, I was like, yep, that's my dad too. That's how it is. Look at this. Rewind real quick. We're going to wrap this up soon. Let me rewind this real quick. His wife, his girl, she discovered the ADHD on her own. And when she outlined the symptoms, I was like, yep, that's my dad too. The reason I wanted to put emphasis on that is because of the stigma I talked about. We have put such a stigma on mental health that we don't want to talk about it, even though we should, even more nowadays, especially in the Black communities, that we are literally ignorant to mental health. We are ignorant to it. We don't know how to spot it. We don't know how to understand it, how to diagnose it, or any of that stuff. We just don't know what to do with it. As a matter of fact, we are so ignorant to mental health to the point where we probably only know about 1 or 2 mental health disorders. And if we don't fit what we have seen on television in a dramatized way, fit that disorder, then we just say we don't have mental health issues. It's to the point where if you are extremely smart, that we say there is no mental health disorder because of how smart you are. And that is, I think, such a huge disservice, because I was a straight A student. I was a valedictorian in middle school. When I graduated from middle school, I was a valedictorian in college. I got my master's degree in two months. I've worked at top tier companies since I was 19 years old when I first got my opportunity. And I've worked on high level projects. I'm a good communicator. I can communicate with folks. We can get stuff done. I can network. But I was dealing with struggles that nobody would have known. And I always wonder because I always see people who wind up talking about their OCPD diagnosis coming so late in their life. I'm talking 50s, 60s. And these individuals talk about how hard their life has been, how many bridges they burned, how bad they feel about themselves. And ultimately, it always comes down to how they wish they would have known sooner. They wish they would have known sooner. Because had they known sooner, then ignore the intro. Had they known sooner, then they would have had more of a fighting chance. And I honestly believe that if a lot of people were to find out about their mental health diagnoses earlier, people who have them, I think we would have a lot more successful marriages. I think we would have healthier children. I think the communities would be stronger. I think we would have less hatred and more empathy in this world. I think we would have better organizations where people could go and get the true resources that they need. I think the world would honestly be a better place. But we have so many individuals who they are dealing with stuff. They feel forgotten, especially men. I remember reading the suicide rate for men, and it was astonishing. It blew my mind and broke my heart at the same time because we have men who are dealing with these things and they are isolated. They might not even know what's going on with them. They don't want to be the way they are. They don't want to spaz out on folks, but they're dealing with something deeper. And I would say this, and I want to make sure I'm clear with this because suicide is such a serious thing. Somebody taking their life is one of the worst things I think could happen, right? With folks who are having these struggles, if you're spazzing out on folks or really just burning relationships, or you're seeing a track record of destruction in your life, seek help in the right channels, but do not give up if the first thing you try does not work. The reason I say that is I had my first client who was in his 50s. He had been going to therapy for 15 years. He did coaching with me when he started, he did it for 3 months. And he talked about the fact that out of all of the therapy he'd done, not a single therapist understood his brain how I understood his brain. And I'm not making this up. One day I'll share the videos of his testimony. It was more, but he shared that continuously. He actually stayed on with me for over a year consistently. And he talked about how he saw improvements in his marriage. He saw improvements on how he looked at himself and viewed himself. He started to be more organized. He got his citizenship, something he'd been putting off for years. Got his teaching license, something he'd been pushing off for years. Just all of the things that he'd been dealing with over time that he just completely thrown the towel in on. When we did our sessions, we were able to unblock some of that clutter in his life. And I say that because even if it's not me, I'm not saying it has to be me at all, but I want you guys to not give up on trying to figure out what's going on. You might I got a bad diagnosis my first time. My ADHD was misdiagnosed as bipolar 2. She even prescribed me medication, which made, and I had to do my own research, look up what the side effects of each of those were and what the traits were. And that's when I said, no, I was misdiagnosed, went to get a second opinion. And even my second opinion said, no, you were grossly misdiagnosed. Like, yeah, some of these things might be a little similar, but you are explaining that it's not a mood swing because you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It's typically something that's triggered. You don't go too crazy with just spending money or these illusions of grandeur. There are differences in these disorders, and you could get misdiagnosed with something. So really, really take it seriously. I recommend you do get multiple opinions. You do your own research. You have people in your family do research and give their advice or feedback on how their interactions with you have been. And you'd be surprised. People who I had poor interactions with in the past, especially professionally, I'm talking to them now more consistently than people in my own family. Because when I found out what was going on with me, I went back and had conversations and mended bridges. And now we're able to do work together and get stuff done. So just because you burn bridges does not mean it's too late to try your best to build a new bridge. It's not going to be the same bridge. It'll probably have to be a new bridge. And I have confidence that you can figure it out as long as you keep trying, you're persistent, and you don't give up on yourself. All right. That being said, I have a whole nother topic I want to talk about, but I'll try to make it a reminder for the future. And that is environment setting with ADHD. So I'm just going to make a note. Talk about environment setting with ADHD in the future. I'll make sure I try to do that, and we'll get that talked about because I think that'll help you with staying focused and staying on task with whatever it is you're trying to get done. That being said, y'all, wow, this was an incredibly long stream. I will not be doing these like this going forward. This is not something I'm going to be making a consistent thing. We got on at 4:00. We have been on for almost 3 hours, but I hope the information that I gave was very helpful. I hope it was critical information that you guys can use. I'm going to send you my OCPD website, send you my resources website, send you my Jira tutorial, my YouTube page, my video about Jira help, and finally, I'm going to send you the wish list button for my video game that you can wish list on Steam right now called Retro Game Store Simulator. It is the ultimate, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be the best video game simulator of 2025. That is my goal. I want to make the best video game simulator of 2025. It's lofty, but I have to start speaking stuff into existence more with confidence when I have data to back it up. And I've been working my butt off on this game. I brought some incredible people in on this game to get stuff just nostalgic feeling. We're going to the 1980s and it's going to be amazing. I want you guys to subscribe if you have not already. Turn post notifications on. And as a reminder, I will be live this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, getting some work done. We're going to be working on our game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get some work done with me. If you want to just relax, come relax with me. That's fine also. Another thing we will be doing is a live stream on Sunday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about how our week has gone, wrap up the entire sprint, complete tickets, add ad hoc stuff, whatever we need to do. And then we'll start prepping for our next sprint. And then next Thursday, I will be back here at 4 p.m. Eastern time. As long as no meeting interferes, we will be back here at 4 p.m. Eastern time where we review our week, which is what most of this sprint was, the beginning of it. And hopefully I send y'all home within 30 minutes. Okay. That being said, I hope y'all have a great day. Make sure you guys keep fighting for your life. And I will see y'all this Saturday. All right. Peace.